That.
No
Hey,
worries.
welcome to our Thursday night show. For some reason, we had technical problems where we decided to have a show without you for a half hour. Um, so sorry about that. We've been sitting here talking. It said it was playing, and then when I went and talked to everybody else, it was not playing. So welcome to the Hippest Trip on YouTube. I appreciate you coming tonight. And we're just going to dive right in because we are now really late and I feel like an idiot. So I don't know why YouTube did that. We literally have been talking like 20 minutes. And I'm like, where is everybody tonight? No one's here. And they're just talking to each other. And someone could have said, hey, it's not live. But no, that didn't
Maybe it's
happen.
the Mandela effect.
It's something weird going on. So we're going to talk.
I'm having, I'm
We're just
having
going to,
so many technical problems too.
okay. Well,
Her
who knows?
computer goes on by itself at times.
We'll dive into this here. For the let's just catch up. My guest tonight is Sydney Silver from the World Church, and she'll have to tell us a little bit about her background. She has a YouTube channel, but what is really interesting is imagine you go to a place all the time that you go all the time. You go hiking or something, and one day you go there, and all of a sudden it's different, and it's not there anymore, and you got witnesses. So the reason Sydney's going to be joined by some people that also saw this happen, and we're going to talk about that. So Sydney, I'm going to pass this over to you. We're going to catch back up. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then go ahead into your story. And I am sorry to make you do this again. So here we go.
Okay, sounds good. I just made a post that says he has computer issues too. The machines are at us big time.
Yeah, the audience just like tripled. There we go.
I've had I'm
Oh my
serious.
gosh.
Like, for me, like machines have never worked around me like very good, like my whole entire life. And like he just said, my computer turns on its own all the time. It sings me songs. It does crazy things. And I've had the most horrible technical difficulty while filming my Mandela effect videos. And my phone finally healed itself when we found Ben in the park. It had perfect sound. It even placed the video the right direction and everything. But before that, yeah.
But we didn't get to film it all because the power went off, remember?
It was my memory. So the electronic issues are horrible with me too. So sorry about that. But yeah, so what did you want me to reiterate here?
Okay, I want you to talk about what your channel was originally, and then how you got into all this, and then go right into your story, and we will catch everything up. I'll give you a little more time on the back end.
Okay, I honestly think I may have been experiencing the Mandela effect my whole life, unless I'm just like a paranormal magnet and I'm experiencing different paranormal events. And I don't know, but I look back and a lot of things could be explained by the Mandela effect. I was running a church channel, basically just about morals, how I feel about creation, to change our world, protesting, consequences of actions you thought you got away with that maybe you didn't really get away with them, and things of that nature. And I had been experiencing Mandela effects before I knew what it was called. And the first one was about 15 to 20 years ago. It was actually Walgreens. I remember when all the Walgreenses turned from green into a red color, and I freaked out. I didn't like it at all. It scared me. I didn't understand why, because I liked that color for the store, but now I thought they made a mass change. So then like now 15, 20 years later, I'm telling people, I know I sound crazy, but I think my Bible's changing. And I had actually heard Marilyn Manson said that there was no Antichrist in the Bible. Well, I decided I was going to do a little video about that, and I knew it was going to be in there, and it was. But then I was thinking back, and I was like, when he said that, I checked, and it wasn't in there. So then I started saying, is my Bible changing? And what are all these different changes I'm experiencing? Sally's used to be Sally's, not Sally. And somebody sent me a Mandela effect video. Boom, it was like my whole life changed. That's when I found you. I took your surveys, and I love your videos on the Mandela effect. Thank you. And I started suddenly going through, like, realizing that, like, some of the things that were happening actually were happening, you know, and that I had a name for it. So I made my first video on that and the fear factor, trying to get through the fear factor of it. Although I just recently really frightened a lady with that video, which I didn't mean to. And then I decided, you know what, an orange tree disappeared out of my neighborhood, which is back now. So I don't know. But I thought, this is, after the orange tree came back, I said, this is crazy. I'm imagining all this stuff. It's just a bunch of corporate people changing things on me, and they're messing with us and everything. And this isn't really happening in real life. It's just digital. Forget about it. I hate the Mandela effect. I tried to manifest it away. I was like, it doesn't exist. It's not real. I ignored it for a while. And then I went running with him.
And I experienced it.
And he experienced it with me.
It was bizarre.
In a way that we couldn't
there, and
ignore.
then it's not there. You know, bunch of brush, bunch of weeds. We can't get down, and all of a sudden, we go around, and then it's just cleared.
So what he's talking about is
I run up, and I wanted to verify with Ben. Say, have you been standing here all this time? Because I was in awe, and really awe. And I was so glad when Sydney labeled it for me, and I realized, you know, because nothing like this has ever happened to me.
So what he's talking about is we were running in the park, and the path that we used to get up this hill from where our car was parked just literally vanished on us, and then reappeared less than 5 minutes later. And it's a really, really big path, really clear. I took some videotape of it after the event because people requested it. And Ben was standing up there at the top of the hill, kind of noticing,
like in a trance,
us acting weird, but not really remembering things the way we remember it. So I couldn't ignore the Mandela effect at that point, because literally it became so physical. I had witnesses. I knew I couldn't just be crazy. I knew that I was noticing things and that it really was happening to me. And basically, you know, that's where I'm at now. I still have other effects, like I was going to tell you about my t-shirt. Some other things have been happening to me lately, and it's weird because it's almost like it's speeding up. Like, I've noticed that, or maybe because I'm just aware of it now, then I'm seeing it in more places than before. I would just kind of ignore it, you know?
Well, let me recap for a bit, because we just had about 40 people join online. So the story is Sydney goes hiking. Yes. And she gets to the top of this hill, and you guys both went.
Yes.
And then when you get to the top of the hill, you turn around, and the path you were walking on is all of a sudden gone and covered with a bunch of old overgrowth. It's gone. Yes. And then Ben says he saw you walk up, but when you talk to him, you never went up that way. So Ben has a whole different story, saying, like, you walked up here in a different reality. Is that right? Am I following this?
Yeah, I think Ben kind of remembers us the first time just coming maybe from a different direction and walking past. We came, like, let's just say Ben's here. What we remember is we came from this direction. We stopped, went behind Ben and tried to go down this hill, couldn't. So we came back around this way and down, and then looked up, and the path had reappeared. And I don't know what Ben remembers. Ben can tell us what he remembers.
Well, I remember seeing them initially, and I was in my own zone. I was just like in my own vibe. I've been, that park has a lot of value to it. Just put it that way. There's a time when they come back and they're jogging. So I'm thinking they're just exercising. I'm like, oh, they're probably just exercising. You know what I mean? Like, what's up? And I say, what's up? Right? Did I say hi to you?
I said hi to you the first
time.
time.
Yeah, definitely. And then I remember you asking me after that, did you see us come this way before, or this, you know? And then the questions, you know, and I was like, well, I did. I remember seeing you, but I don't remember. Then you told me what happened. Like, maybe we're lost because we're trying to go back down somewhere, but there was only brush, and it was like a tremendous amount of bushes and things like that. So I said, you know what, maybe you went the other way. I suggested that maybe they took another route to go where they were going. And then I guess that's when you guys realized that maybe you didn't take that route, and that you were.
I knew we were on the right path because I remembered all the landmarks, and I was telling him, remember these ravines and etc.
And the crack down the hill, or because that crevice I told you to.
Yeah, we knew we were on the right path. Yeah.
So you wouldn't twist your ankle. But when you went around Ben, after you came back, I went around Ben to check what you were looking at, and all I saw was brush. I mean, like
So in
2.5
other words,
feet high.
like you were saying when we were offline, that it's possible that we were in between two. Somebody told me that that park may be a vortex. I don't know, because I've had 2 physical Mandela effects there now. And there was a weird circle in, I don't know if somebody was using drugs or something, but there was a weird circle right where I thought I was standing in that path. Somebody asked me to go stand in that circle and film it, and I'm like actually too frightened to do that. But the interesting thing was that I realized that like our first reality wasn't destroyed. It was still there. Whatever, if you think we died or our first reality was destroyed, I just don't really believe in those theories anymore, because it was still there. It reappeared for us. Like maybe everything that we believe, like Sex in the City, all those people that remember Sex in the City, like I distinctly remember that. Maybe that show is going to warble back into reality at some point. I don't know.
Well, I was saying this earlier that one of the theories is that we're shifting between two or more realities right now. It's like driving down the road and you're trying to tune in a radio station and you're getting them both at the same time. That people think that's kind of happening here. That for one reality to pass there and then it's not there and then it's there. And you aren't, believe me, you're not the only person that's ever had this happen. There's people that say entire buildings disappear. Streets disappear, but what makes you special is you have witnesses that also saw it. So I think a lot of people are starting to get that.
Yeah, I mean that's that was actually something really, really important to me, because, and it's weird that that in my experience, the Mandela effect, I was trying to ignore it and act like it wasn't real and say that it didn't exist. And then it was like, not only did it come back, it came back and proved to me with witnesses that it is here and that it does exist, or something is happening, because
something is happening.
When I have somebody here who remembers exactly what I do, right? And then I have somebody who he might not remember it, but he was there and he remembers I was there acting very oddly. Now it's becoming something that like I can't personally ignore anymore.
That's what I was trying to ask Ben, the question that I did to inquire if he had been there or if he had moved, because we were there and all we saw was brush. And I just wanted to get a verification from Ben to tell me, yeah, I've been here all this time. And then I knew.
And actually, the Mandela effect, if it is time travel or something, I did have an experience when I was very young that later people classified for me as aliens. I called them monsters, and they told me that they were future humans. So if time travel is happening, then this thing could have been, maybe, I'm not saying for sure because I don't know anything, but it could have been happening to me like my whole life. And it's actually kind of nice for me to be able to say that and know that like I'm crazy.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about your shirt. You said that
Okay.
It's getting personal now because even your clothes are changing. So why don't you talk to people and say what's up with that?
I'm going to make another video soon of like a giant list of things that I am not 1,000% sure of, but are just really weird or are freaking me out. And one of them was I was watching the Path video and I was wearing this shirt, which I'll show you. So I was wearing this exact shirt. And you can see on the cover of my shirt, it's a pyramid, right? And when I took the video, I was watching, I freaked out because I remember this shirt as a V. It used to have a V on it. And I distinctly remember it having a V, and I even texted the guy who gave it to me. He thought it was a V and an A for audiovisual. And I was like, holy crap. I was right after I made the Path video, because I was very happy when I made that Path video, and I was laughing and I was giggling, like, yay, I have a witness, I'm not crazy. And then I watched it, I saw the shirt had changed. And I got really scared again. I was like, this is just getting so close. I can't stand that it's like crawling up on my skin, like on my chest. It's like in my skull, it's in my tailbone, it's in my kidneys, like, and all of my fears came back. And thankfully I'm over the fears again. But yeah, this shirt definitely, I feel this shirt changed. I can't prove it 1,000%. It's not like the things that I remember.
Well, I think it's pretty strong when you contacted the designer of the shirt and he's like, nah, that's not what it was. I would say, you
Yeah,
know,
he thought it
the designer would probably know what it was supposed to be. If it was audio visual, there's supposed to be an A and a V. It's not a pyramid.
Yeah, it was the guy that gave it to me. So I remembered it being a V, and I loved the V because I'm really into the V because I consider it to be a girl symbol, right? So I thought, oh yeah, I have like a girl symbol on my shirt, right? And now I've got this giant, you know,
Vendetta.
Vendetta, V for Vendetta. Yes, we will say that. It's not a lady part. It is V for Vendetta. And
yeah,
then
it's a V for Vendetta. Who said that?
I think it was it Ben?
Thing is weird for me too because of the shadow man I'd seen in my room. Looks just like the V for Vendetta man.
Oh, we'll have to talk about that later because I definitely want to hear about the Shadow Man. Bring that back up. But let's. There's well, you know what? Go ahead. We got a minute. You want to talk about the Shadow Man? Talk about the Shadow Man before we jump to your book.
The Shadow Man, it's like really embarrassing to me, but like I'm starting to admit more and more things because I just didn't want to talk about some stuff because
It's a safe space here. You can talk about it and not worry about it. I mean,
yeah.
There's way more crazy stuff we've talked about than this. So go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So the Shadow Man is actually a man that first I saw in a shared dream with my boyfriend in college. And in the dream, it was really weird. It was like a Mandela effect dream because we had the same dream, but slightly different reality. So in my dream, we dreamed that we were actually awake. We didn't think we were sleeping. And in his dream, the lights were on, and in my dream, the lights were off. And the door opens, and there's a shadow man standing in the door. And in my dream, he had glowing red eyes. And in his dream, the lights were on, so he didn't see any eyes. Now, fast forward to a couple of years ago, my computer, which he said knows, turns on and off, and my electronics do weird things and stuff. I was laying in bed, and I woke up because my computer light turned on, so the monitor turned on, and I saw the man standing with my physical eyes. I saw the Shadow Man. He has a hat. He looks just like the V for Vendetta guy, but not with long hair and jacket and everything, but he's made out of like smoke. And I saw him looking into my computer, and he had a hand. His hand was on my mouse. So obviously he had just jiggled the mouse and turned on the computer and was looking into my computer. And I was thinking, why would he look into my computer? And I kind of like blinked, and he was gone. And ever since then, and then I was watching a Mandela Effect video, and I saw behind the man a poster, and my Shadow Man was on it. I frantically wrote him. I said, "Who's that guy? That's the guy that I've seen in my own bedroom, like a time traveler or something. Like I don't know who the heck he is. He was looking at my computer." And he said, "Well, that's the man from V for Vendetta."
From the movie.
And I don't know, because I want to just mention that the V for Vendetta poster looks a lot like the group Anonymous, which could be run by the AI. If this has anything to do with computers, supercomputers, or an artificial intelligence, the V for Vendetta poster does have that mask that is being used by the hackers and the Anonymous people. So there might be something in that. I don't know. It's just something weird that's happened to me, and I call him the Shadow Man.
I'll put it out there to see if the audience that's watching this, if you guys have experience with the same Shadow Man, please comment below. I know a lot of people have seen shadow figures. You know, again, it might be because realities are merging, that you're actually seeing the same kind of space around you where people are walking around, or maybe you're even seeing yourself. Or maybe there are other forces. You know, I think if they're demonic forces or bad things, that they come with that negative energy. You feel the doom and gloom, but a lot of people, when they see this stuff, aren't scared. They don't feel like it's creepy. It's just like oh, well, that's interesting. It's not a evil force feeling. It's more of you're seeing a glimpse of the other side feeling. I don't know if that makes sense, but it doesn't have that evil vibe.
I wanted to ask Ben, actually, I don't feel like it's bad towards me. I feel like it's someone who loves me, like someone who protects me or something. So I don't know, but the thing is feelings, because why would somebody be wanting to look through my computer and spy on me, like, or why would they even have to if they're that, like, I don't know, it's weird. But I wanted to ask Ben if anything else weird has happened in that park, because somebody told me that they think that park is like a vortex or something. And I don't know, because there was a bridge that disappeared on me in that park, but the reason I kind of brushed it aside was because I was just like, honestly.
She told me about that.
So I thought I might be crazy.
After we experienced what we experienced, because I didn't know what to call it, and she labeled it for me, and then I was, you know, I could see, I felt better after that, after she labeled it. You know, when you don't know what's happening, and then, you know,
I question this.
And then she told me about the bridge, and I said, yeah.
Yeah, I had a bridge that disappeared on me in that park.
I have a question. And to bring it all together, because these are thoughts that I have in terms of taking place. Is it too much to talk about, and will it affect something that maybe there is time travel and they're trying to help us in a certain way, but if we reveal too much, and there are those that are looking that are trying to find out where these things are taking place so they can stop it, would we be affecting something bigger than we know right now? So that's why a lot of things I just don't share with a lot of people.
You know, a lot of people think you're a time traveler. Okay. So that just made it even worse. Okay. There's a lot of people that suspect that he was like a time traveler or something in this whole thing.
She just told me about what somebody had texted her. And that's exactly how they thought of Ben, that he was a time traveler.
No, there's people, and I even thought that in the beginning. I said, was that guy like a time traveler or something? Because he was right up there when it all happened, and acted like he didn't notice anything.
But to me, he seemed like he was in a trance, like a deep, deep thought. Like, you know, he wasn't aware of his awareness.
Once I talked to him, I was like, okay, I guess he's just Ben. But yeah, there's still people out there saying that he's probably part of it and knows what's going on.
Some of the I want to jump in for a sec because some of the people in the chat are saying there's a character called the Hat Man that looks like B from Vendetta, and that he's seen all over the place. So maybe this is and some people do think it's some sort of time traveler who's trying to affect what's going on here. So I just want to throw that out there. Maybe you could research the Hat Man before you. The Hat Man. Yeah, look that up for your video when you make it. You might find useful information.
I can't explain to you how that makes me feel inside. Like, I'm so nervous because...
Are you aware of shadow people?
No, I wasn't aware of any of that stuff before this. Like, I just started telling people because it's just... I actually wrote a book about my paranormal experiences, and I tried to put them all in... it's like an ebook on Amazon, and it's called, I can't remember, Sydney Silver Paranormal Experiences. I had written a column in the newspaper about all my paranormal experiences. But I just finally had started coming out with it at that time because I got called so many names, told I was crazy, and, you know, made fun of, said I was a liar and stuff like that. And one time I had physical evidence. I finally said, forget this. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to, you know, start writing it all down. I started writing in the newspaper. And I did mention, I believe I did mention in that book, the Shadow Man, but the shadow people, like, I wasn't aware of shadow people that other people like even knew.
Well,
yeah, there's many people in the ME community that have seen shadow people in the last year. But like I said, it doesn't seem like an evil thing. It's just more like you're seeing a glimpse, like there was no malintention like a demon or something. But the flip side is that, you know, there seems to be in this community, most of the people in here are like lightning rods for paranormal stuff. That the people that are out there on the front lines and speaking would have seen way more share of their paranormal stuff than most everybody else. So I don't think you're alone at all in this.
Oh my gosh, thank you for saying that, because I was trying to explain the other day. I was like, you know, how people get hit by lightning like 9 times in a row and it's impossible? I'm like that for like paranormal things. Okay, like it hits me like 9, 10 times in a row and it doesn't hit anyone else like 1 time. You know? What Ben wanted to say something.
I won't.
This would be like the most I'll share until I feel comfortable with positioning of what I'm sharing. For some reason, it just makes me want to say this. I believe I've had the experience of interdimensional vision, and I've saw things run really fast toward different areas of the city, of the valley, like even in the valley, like something run really fast. Then I experienced one stop, and someone of light and white get up, confront that situation. Not fully clear what happened, but they seem to be at odds. Like there were certain things that this force was trying to do, and there were certain things that the other force may have been trying to stop it from doing. So, you know,
like two shadow groups at odds with each other.
No, the shadows seem to be, from my feeling, compel me to think they were up to not really good, no good. Well, good, but see, you have to understand what is evil and what is good, you know, what they are.
Yeah.
Intergalactically, it could be two different meanings, coming from two universal perspectives. So that's what I felt that I, you know, experienced.
But they were at war or something. They were definitely against each other. Oh, can I also show the book that we found?
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I'm curious what people say on this topic. We've talked about it a little before, but I think this is really good evidence.
And now that I experienced this with Sydney, I'm going to read her book. I want to read her book.
So I had kind of interviewed them. I'm not sure if we said that this time around or not, but they were definitely both deep in the Mandela effect and didn't know it. He had a lot of the Mandela effects when I interviewed him, and I asked him today how many states there were, and he said, how many states are there?
52.
52. That's what I remember. I remember like 52 or 51 states. I was always getting it wrong on my quizzes in school, and even though I was a top student, which means to me that it was more than 50, because 50 is an easy number to remember, even though you remember 50, right, Dr. Turin?
Yeah.
You remember 50, more than 50.
Go ahead, keep going.
And so Richard found this book. It's the front page of the Los Angeles Times for a whole entire century, from 1881 to 1981. I mean, this might be changed by the Mandela effect, though. I don't know if it's going to be residual evidence or not. It claims that Hawaii was the 50th state. That would mean that Hawaii would have to be the very last state brought in. So I don't know if that's what people remember or not, was that Hawaii was the last one. I think you remember Alaska was the last one?
Alaska and Puerto Rico, I think, the way he mentioned.
I don't remember Puerto Rico. I thought it was always just a territory. But I definitely remember that there was more than one.
Hold that up a little longer. Hold that up a little longer. I want to see the headline. I feel a little.
But I also.
Okay, go ahead.
I also remember that Eli Whitney was a black man. So it's kind of like, you got to be careful with the Mandela effect, how you treat people based on color, because you might end up a different ethnicity tomorrow.
That's a good.
But do you remember him as white or black?
Black.
You.
Black.
He's now white. They both remember him as black.
Yeah, I did too. That was one of the things I did. But I want to talk about these 50 states for a minute, because in my reality, and I want to see how many people remembered this, her headline said 50 is nifty. And when I was a little kid, they forced us to learn a song called 50 Nifty, where you sing about and you name every state. And it was like 50 nifty United States. I don't know if you guys remember that. And then you'd list the states. You'd be like Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut. I wonder how many people had the same experience. So
I don't remember.
We got drilled this song to learn our 50 states. And then right around the same time when they kept saying we were going to switch over to the metric system, they were complaining that DC was really ticked off that they had no representation, no taxation without representation, that they were subject to all the laws of the U.S. and the taxes, and they never got to vote in anything, and they weren't a real state. So they wanted to become a state, and Puerto Rico wanted to become a state, and then people stopped talking about it. So I feel like that disappeared in my reality, because that's where it stopped at 50. And maybe your reality, it went on and they became 52.
Yeah, I remember. I thought DC might have been a state. Here's the.
Puerto Rico became a state.
Do you see that? The title? Can you get that, Dr. Turin?
There it is. 50 nifty.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of that up close.
That's good. We got it.
Okay. But yeah, you know what Jazz told me, she's out there, and she told me today there's actually 2 statues of liberty now. I haven't researched that yet, but that's what she told me. She said there's actually 2 statues of liberties.
I feel like the guy made a few of them, because I think in some movie they go to the wrong Statue of Liberty for a clue, and they're trying to find the other one. That the guy made a few copies of it in different places, but
Okay.
I don't know if what the deal is with that. We'll throw that out to the audience. If you guys have comments, let me know. Wow, some people are even saying it's 51. 51 states.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
I can never remember. It was like 51, 52, 53.
Yeah, but it's funny that you guys were all 52 right away, and a lot of people I talk to say 52. What are the other 2 states that you guys remember? Was it DC?
I've looked it up and I can't figure it out, but I was thinking maybe it's Washington D.C. made it 51 states or something like that. Maybe D.C. was a state.
What about 52?
See, okay, this is what I'll tell you what I remember. I distinctly remember it whirling back and forth between 51, 52, and because I was always getting that answer wrong, and I would always wonder why, because I was really good in school. I was really good at memorizing their crap and all their lies and spitting it back at them, okay? And now I'm wondering if I was going through Mandela effects, because I remember when they changed it and I was like, but it used to be like a different number of states. And so I'm kind of wondering if there may be people from 51 states, 52 states, and 50 states. I'm back and forth, and I was like, you can't settle on the number of these stupid states.
Wasn't Puerto Rico
and
the province of America?
I think it's
some kind of
district or something.
Yeah, something like it's not really America.
It's not a state.
Right.
But
it's a province.
Well, what did the flag look like with 52? Because in 50 everything lines up nice and neat, but
yeah, there was
52
never
must have been a little weird.
Oh, was it? I don't remember that. I think as soon as it came together after the 13, it became 50.
I actually think I remember the flag stars not being in straight lines. Are they in straight lines? No, I think that they were a little offset, the stars.
I guess it depends on what flag it is, because I've seen them both ways.
Maybe
I'll have to look. If anybody remembers that or can link that, put that in the comments, please. I'd appreciate it. Some people are saying the 52nd state was Guam. I remember them pitching Puerto Rico. Anybody else have any guesses? Put that in there. But that's pretty interesting and a good find with the articles. That's really neat.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to kind of go through that and see if there's any residuals, because I know that like the evidence for Eli Whitney was in a lot of articles and newspaper articles and things like that. So some of the old newspapers are not changing.
What's interesting is
I was immune. So.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, some people were saying The Simpsons seems immune to the Mandela effect, so maybe there's an Eli Whitney Simpsons episode out there. I don't know. Yeah,
it does seem, and like I saw a Family Guy the other day where they were talking about Sex and the City, but when they said it, the closed caption put Sex and the City, but they were saying Sex in the City in the video. So somebody like changed it in the closed caption to Sex and the City. They were clearly saying Sex in the City. They were making jokes about that show.
That's totally what made me think that this is it's a contrived thing and that it's being done on purpose to us. And I think one of the things I've been frightened of is that what if we are being sprayed with smart dust and with AI infected with non-consensual virtual reality, and this is like a testing phase to see who of us will easily become robots and who of us can have our realities changed and who can't be and why not, and that kind of thing. Like that has been one of my fears, is transhumanism and that kind of thing. And but I know there's like a ton of other theories out there, and
like chemtrails.
Well, you know, a lot of people say that the chemtrails are spraying smart dust and Morgellons on us, that it may have an AI and it may be infecting our brains or something like that. Or, you know, I don't want to dismiss any possibility though, because obviously I don't really know what's going on. But I do know that I've tried the manifesting thing, and like sometimes it seems to work and other times it doesn't. You know, like one of the things about the manifesting thing is like it happens almost by accident. I'll think I need a light bulb. I'll walk out on my porch, and somebody had placed 2 light bulbs on my porch from a company that was giving samples out all over the neighborhood. I'm like, what? You know, but on the other hand, it's like if manifesting is all we need to create this reality, why is the earth proving flat when everybody thinks it's round? Like everybody really believed it was a sphere. You know, so I don't know, I'm half and half on the whole, like if the manifestations works or how it works, you know. Are you there, Dr. Taryn? You just disappeared on us. I think he got.
I'm here. I just had an issue for a second. I'm hearing you. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Technical difficulties. So, but
no,
yeah,
if that happens, sometimes it's just saving bandwidth.
You know, I had given the theory that maybe the Mandela effect is being beamed out of the Great Pyramid, because somebody had said that if you put the Mandela effect into Google Earth, that it goes and directs you to the Great Pyramid. I said, well, what if that's where the Mandela effect is coming from? You know, and some lady came on my channel and said she's been investigating supercomputers, quantum computers, and things that were possibly placed in the Great Pyramid. So I'm open to all of us, because I really appreciate you, because if you weren't out there, I really would feel insane. I mean, I really would feel lonely, attacked, and insane. I
want you to know that we have a chat area we go into almost every day, that if you don't want to feel alone and you're like her, and you guys too are welcome, where we meet each other, we become friends, we hang out, and you can hang out with people who don't think you're crazy and can discuss any of these ideas safely without being trolled. So I'll give you that link at the end of the show, and hopefully you guys can come hang out there tonight a little bit.
Awesome,
yeah, it's called the Afterglow chat. I'll hook you up. But now's the time where I want to start bringing on other panelists, and you guys can interact and get deeper into these topics. So let me bring them in one by one here.
Sounds good.
And my first guest coming on is Jerry. Jerry also has a channel, and Jerry, you want to give us a 1-minute brief about yourself, and then feel free to ask a question or comment.
Wow, what can I say? I'm just a computer programmer who found all this strange stuff. I guess I woke up, right, like everyone else, and been exploring just every angle and corner I can find to see what's going on.
Are you a hacker? Can you hack?
I am not considered a hacker, no.
He's not going to tell you publicly.
When I was a kid, maybe.
Ask him privately.
Tell us in secret.
That I do not have. I've been so out of the loop on the hacker stuff. I just do, you know, back end things now. Cloud-based stuff, you know.
Uh-huh. I like hackers, so I'm just asking.
Oh yeah, I'm a big time hacker. Yeah.
Cool.
And then Jerry, do you have some questions or comments you'd like to talk about on the topics of things appearing or reappearing, the 50 states, clothes changing? Any of those are fair game. What do you want to talk about?
How crazy can I get?
Hey man, go ahead. We just talked about chemtrails poisoning people with Morgellons, so I think it's fair game to go for it.
So you know, I looked at the Mandela effect last year when everyone was going crazy about it, and I had 2 things that I noticed were different. One was a spelling of the word dilemma. I learned to spell it with an N, D-I-L-E-M-N-A.
Yeah.
And that changed. And there's actually a website called dilemma.org, I believe, which has all these people who had the same thing. And the other thing was C-3PO's leg in Star Wars became silver. It was all gold in the original movies, and I think that may have been done in the remastering, and I've yet to be able to find a tape to find out. So that's on my list. So other than the spelling, which could totally be dictionaries, I haven't found anything in my life. That doesn't mean I'm not on the base timeline and you weren't, if that's what it is. So
and they changed definitely, the spelling of definitely. I hated that one.
Yeah, it took me a long time to learn how to spell that right.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's either real or not real. That's kind of the deal, and it's really a subjective thing, so it's hard to prove.
I think it's real. It's like, for me, the question is it something that's supernatural or that's going to always be in our reality, or is it something that's being foisted upon us by like a group that we aren't aware? Like, you know, like I said, could it be non-consensual virtual reality plus combined with changing the internet, like in 1984 scenario? Or is it something that's more intrinsic in our world that we didn't know about before or something? Like, those are the questions for me. I think it's definitely real. It's definitely happening.
I'm not saying it's not. I have 4 things that it could possibly be, that I've come up with.
Okay.
One is what you said. It's an otherworldly thing, a hidden hand, whatever that is. If we are in a sim and our controllers, who are probably us, by the way, I just want to say that, are doing it. Or it could be CERN. So I've heard a lot of stuff about CERN. It could be that there have been too many timelines created or too many parallel realities, because when we believe in something strong enough, another parallel dimension could pop up like that, like that's the story. And or it could be your own manifestation, that you are bringing this forward. Like you thought there was a path in that park, right? And when you went around the other side, it was there. You may have manifested that or brought a dimension with that path into your dimension. You should try and look at it from both sides, not that it's being done to you, but also that you could be doing it.
Well, I have wondered if I am doing a lot of this stuff, and that kind of scared me because I don't like that responsibility. Like, I don't want to think that, I
better get used to it.
I
know, but if.
But actually, I don't think so, because it's like I said, I'm having also a problem with the manifestations thing, because it's like this one. I've been doing a lot of flat Earth experiments starting on that. And it's like, why is the Earth proving to be flat if we all really believed it to be a sphere? Wouldn't it have manifested as a sphere?
Because beliefs aren't real.
But that would have been a worldwide manifestation of ours.
Well, no one's really paid attention to it. So, we've been told it's a sphere. I'm sure you've watched all the flat Earth videos. You see the indoctrination that goes on. It starts in kindergarten. There's planets hanging above your crib as a mobile. It's nonstop. So to find out later in life that it's possibly not a sphere is like, whoa. But you just never looked before. That's all.
But I just find holes in the manifestation thing unless I don't understand every aspect of it.
I'm not saying that's what it was. That's a possibility. That's all.
Let me dive in here for a sec. Before we really start diving in, I still need to introduce my other guest. So hold on before we take off.
You told me to go.
Okay. I know, but I meant like a minute. All right, here we go. The next person in was Burma. So if you can unmute. If you guys watch the show, you see Burma on here almost every week. And Burma, go ahead and say hello. And then if you have a comment about this or opinion, a quick one before I introduce Sam.
Quick, why don't we just do this? I'll save it. I'll say hello, and I'll pass it over to Sam. And he can say hello.
Yeah, Sam's been MIA for a while, so I'm glad to see him back. Sam, how's it going over there? Is your sound working? Everything's going good?
Yeah, I can hear everything good. Taryn, it's so good to see you again. Burma, hello.
Yeah, we're really glad to have you back. So I'm going to go ahead and give Burma a chance to ask a question. And then Sam a chance, and after that, I'm just going to open it up free for all, and you guys can run loose.
Oh yeah, I got one. How long have you been going through this? The Mandela effect, like how long?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a good question. I'm going to tentatively say if time travel, tentatively say maybe since I was about 2 years old. And because of some experiences I had when I was 2. And if it's not time travel and the other things I've been experiencing are not the Mandela effects, then the very first one I remember was about 15 or 20 years ago when all the Walgreens turned from green to red. And I was really shocked. I didn't like that at all. I liked the Walgreens being green. And I thought, I just kind of was like, what? I shook my head. I thought, well, they just did a mass company change like overnight. And I didn't like it. It disturbed me. And that was the first one I noticed. So that one, long time ago.
Right.
So the one when I was 2, I had this experience that later people made me think was aliens. But I don't even know if space exists anymore. I've actually asked people to prove space exists, and they can't prove it to me. So one of my first things when I was 2, I had 2 recurring nightmares. One was actually about the Matrix. It was about my brain being removed from my head and put into a large mining robot for a society of humans. They were all white people kind of like standing around me in a laboratory. The other was a government conspiracy theory about everyone being murdered, and I was the only one that was awake. It was supposedly like to help the population of the planet. So I had that when I was 2 years old. Very weird dreams for a kid, but the thing was I remembered being actually laying on my bed, and this was not a dream. At least I kept insisting and still insist that it was not a dream. I was awake. There was people standing around me, very tall, shadowy people. They were testing my brain. They put me into a space. They tested my critical thinking. They asked me to connect dots of certain things, and they were asking me questions. Why did you do that? You know, they told me that they were future humans. Was probably the most stressful test. It was a lollipop test. And as soon as the test was done, all the testing was done, I just jumped out of my room. I ran to my parents in the living room, like I could hear again. The color came back. And I was like, Mommy, Daddy, the monsters were back. The monsters were back. And they were like, there's no monsters. You were dreaming. And I was like, I wasn't dreaming. And they were like, you were dreaming. And so for a large part of my life, I always felt that I wasn't dreaming, and that these beings who told me that they were humans from the future, but other people were telling me were aliens, because I went through all those typical alien abduction experiences, that I thought it was real. I thought that I really had gone through it. It was only until I woke up in Greece and I had grease covering my back and I was able to actually snap pictures of it, that I finally said, you know what, I'm not crazy. I have physical evidence that something is happening to me, okay? I actually still have it, so I've kept it for testing whenever I can afford it. And that's when I wrote my paranormal book with all my experiences. So I don't know, like what I'm saying is that that could all be part of the Mandela effect. If these were time travelers rather than aliens, and they were future humans, as they themselves told me that they were, then it could all be part of the same dimensional time travel, dimensional beings. I could have been experiencing this as early as 2. They were shadowy.
It's amazing that you remember that from 2 years old. I mean, I remember, I talked to a lot of people about how far back they remember. A lot of people, it's 5, 6, you know what I mean? 5 or 6 years old. Me, I can remember back to, I was probably about 3 years old. I stuck a fork in an electric socket. I mean, like, smart thing to do. But the thing is that it was so like, I didn't get shocked. I'm standing on a wooden floor. I stuck it right in. All the power goes out in the house and nothing happens.
But you did that last week. I mean,
that's why my hair is so curly today.
That might have been your first dimensional jump or something. You jumped to.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, and that definitely sparked the memory. Like that memory is so vivid there. You know, 3 years old. So I just wow.
Well, let me.
What effect for me is I have such a good memory. I actually remember my first thoughts on this planet as a baby. My mom says I remember the womb, but I don't remember it now. I remember my very first thoughts as a baby in this plane, wherever we are. And I've had such a good memory my whole life. I remember a lot of my schooling. I was top of my classes and everything. So for me to suddenly be saying like, you know, but I remember Eli Whitney was a black man, like I got taught.
No, he was. Yeah, for me too. That one's off the charts for me.
I want to take a time to go ahead and bring Sam in now. And Sam, feel free to make a comment and question about anything we talked about earlier.
Sure. Taryn, I sent you 2 emails just a few moments ago, and they contain 2 pictures. And this was an incident that a couple of friends of mine relayed to me this past week. She was up early for some reason, unusually early, about 5 o'clock, and she had looked out the kitchen window of their country home, and there was this unusual rainbow that caught her attention. And the way the light was not from the direction that the sun normally rises in, so she thought this rather odd. Well, she took a picture with her video phone. Now, she didn't see anything unusual except the rainbow when she was looking out the window. However, when she looked at the phone, she captured a building and a person standing outside the building where there is no building. Now, I sent you the photo before and after. If you want to pull up both of them, you can see what it looks like all the rest of the time.
Okay.
I'd love to
let me show that. I'm sorry.
I have a weird photo to tell you about.
Okay. but can you give me one sec to go ahead and talk about your photo, and then I'm going to pull up the one Sam.
So I actually have a photo of my sister that I just refound, and I remember the day that it happened was really weird. We were on the beach and we took a photo. It looks like there's a little UFO in the sky behind you. It's like a little black dot, and this side of the photo is all whited out. You can't see the ocean behind us here, but you can over here. And it actually switched our eye colors. So I have like gray green eyes, and she has brown eyes. And the photo gave me her eyes, so I have brown eyes, and she has the gray green eyes. And I do not know how, like, our eyes got switched, but I don't know if it's part of this or not. Like, some weird warp, or maybe in another dimension. I have the brown eyes.
I saw that picture.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I just showed them that picture. So
if you want to email it to me, I'll show it live. So here's the photo Sam's talking about. Guys, I want you to notice there's like a hose in the ground. There's like a little, I don't know, some sort of plant thing, and the trees on the skyline. So you know that this is the same photo. So that's what it's before. Yes. Now take a look at what Sam's talking about when they took the picture of this rainbow, what appeared. And this is with the rainbow. Can you guys see the difference that now all of a sudden there's a shed with a guy standing in front of it walking through?
Yeah,
that's
it
pretty.
Looks like the TARDIS.
That's pretty wild.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That's I mean, like, that's such a good catch.
It's definitely not a reflection, right?
Well, you know, we've tried to rule everything out, and there's some question about whether or not somehow some kind of reflection might have happened in the window, but there's not anything that really would reflect in that way. It's in the room. It's just a normal kitchen. And her son suggested, well, perhaps it's something off of the computer laptop. And she's like, well, the computer was on in the room, but it was just to the right of the window, and she said there's just no way it would reflect like that. And they went back and tried to set it up and create all kinds of, you know, tests to see. And there wasn't, you know, anything they could simulate that would make it have a similar look. And you know how computers will go to sleep if you don't touch them for a few minutes. So I'm wondering, you know, if their computer was asleep to begin with, that rules it out too. So we're still in the process of doing, you know, the final detective work to rule out all other possibilities. But as of this moment, yeah, it's passing every genuine test of she just happened to catch the right moment.
The fact that it's in a rainbow is interesting, I think.
Yeah, and it's got this bizarre, if you look at that picture of that little shed, it almost looks like it has some kind of LED laser light across the entire top of the shed. It's like this brilliant blue, which we don't have light bulbs like that. So that's kind of bizarre. And, you know, anyway, I was totally amazed by it. Now, this is the same couple. You guys might remember me mentioning several weeks ago. He had a boat trailer that had a flat tire, and he was weeks behind getting it taken care of. And he kept thinking to himself, I need to get that boat tire taken care of, you know, repaired. Well, he went out one morning and the tire was completely inflated, no longer flat. And this is one of the Mandela effects. Bizarre. And he asked me, is it possible, Sam, that the tire can fix itself like this?
I would call that magic before I called it.
Well, this is the manifesting aspect that is intermittently happening to some of us. I personally am sitting in a chair right now that I purchased at a discount from Best Buy, and it's the best office chair, except I was always bummed that it did not have a feature to allow me to spring and lean back with it. And I turned it over, looked at it when I bought it, but it was such a good value, like it was a third its normal price and a clearance, that I just couldn't say no to it. Well, I'd had the chair for over a year, and I'm sitting in the chair. This is maybe 2 months after the Mandela effect started to become more intense and diversified. And suddenly my chair falls back just about 4 or 5 inches. And I thought, oh, something's broken. And I flip it over, and there's an entire spring-controlled mechanism on the bottom of it it's as if, like you say, it's like magic. It's as if it was always that way. But I'll tell you, I know without a doubt, 100% certainty that it wasn't that way. I bought the chair myself.
And every time you sat in it, you probably wished, damn, I wish this went back.
Well, I'm actually suspicious that it may turn back because it's like, you know, too awesome. But I'm glad it hasn't.
Taryn, I think Magi is waiting.
I
don't see him.
I don't know. I thought I seen his.
That's
he hasn't joined. He didn't join the hangout.
That's Sam's other hangout. Sam has 2 windows open. So
I'm not sure.
What's up, Sam? Messing with me.
Yeah, I don't have another window open, guys. Let me just double check. No,
it's me. That's you.
I know.
There's another one there.
I'll open it, but I don't know if it'll screw things up by opening it. You guys see it? It's like a lighthouse.
Oh, yeah.
That's you, Sam, isn't it?
It might have connected and then disconnected. It would do that.
Yeah. Let's just hide it.
You can kick that person out.
There you go. Do that.
Sorry, I didn't know. I just sometimes
know
that you don't see it.
Yeah, Magi said he might swing by, and I don't know.
It's
so
dropping it apparently.
Hey, Dr. Chen, I emailed you the picture I was talking about.
I'm getting the pictures up, but I'm colorblind. Are you saying you have 2 different color eyes between these shots?
Okay, no. What I'm saying is that if you look at my eyes, let me try to get close here. I don't know. Can you see my eye color? I don't know if I'm on.
Someone help me out. I'm not good.
No, her eyes are like a
green-gray.
like green color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably blue in the sun, right?
So this is my eye color. Is like a green-gray. Okay. And my sister's eye color is brown. And she's Native American and Jewish. She's my my stepsister. Okay, we're not even don't even have similar eyes at all. And oh, that's me with the lamb.
Are you saying that this picture or?
No, I just emailed them to you. They should be not that email, a different email. It should be a picture of me and my sister on the beach. And
okay, yeah, I did not get that one. Okay, let me look. Go ahead, keep going.
Somebody mentioned it looks like a little black UFO or black sun or something, which is another theory I had on flat Earth, was maybe there's a black object in our sky that gives us the eclipse instead of the Earth's shadow.
Rahu and Ketu?
Like there could be a burnt out moon out there of something,
well,
right? But
in Vedic astrology, there's 2 bodies that govern the eclipses that are black.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. Well, there's a black object in the sky. It's creating such a light on this side that it erases the ocean, and then it switches our eye colors. So my eyes are actually brown, and hers are my color. So her color ends up being the gray-green color. And that was a picture I took when I was like 20, and so like 14, 15 years ago.
I think you sent me the wrong pictures. You just sent me those same ones again, so you'll have to send them again. I don't have the one of you and your sister.
I resend it.
No problem. Like I have.
I just recall now, Doctor, that I had an experience last year. I'm in downtown in a recovery house, and the manager calls me in the office and he shows me a video tape of the camera outside, and that goes out the gate, the front gate. That's there with us in the recovery room. That a woman behind the gate follows him. He backtracked it when he put it on reverse. The man comes back into the yard, but you never see the woman again. And I thought that was kind of bizarre, and I forgot to tell Sydney about that. And I mean, that was the first experience I ever thought. I told him it could be a demon or maybe a spirit. You know, I don't know, but.
I don't know if this is going to show up.
I put the other picture you sent. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Once we get these pictures straightened out, we'll.
This is what.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry. Let me shoot that back to you.
The brown hair is just bleached. It's not Mandela.
I don't know where you went. You blacked out.
Yeah.
There you go. You can
I
send
don't know
me
if
the
you can see it,
shots,
but-
and I'll screen share it. It'll be easier.
I tried to send them to you, so.
Okay, I'll wait
The
for him.
reason
We'll
I
keep
told you
talking.
that story is because of the rainbow story and the man coming up behind the shed.
Again, I'm having, electronic issues. Electronics are always messing up on me.
You know, Sydney, you can
Sorry,
pay.
I know.
You can
I
paste.
tried to send them to
You can paste that photo into the Hangout chat too.
Yeah, it's fine. Just send it. I prefer to control
Okay.
it because of problems we've had with security.
Yeah.
I'm at the private chat.
Yeah. Okay.
I've also had.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Was I on when I was explaining that?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right here. Look at yourself right there.
Oh, all right. So they did about downtown.
Did y'all hear what he was saying about downtown?
No.
No. We're
No.
having computer issues again.
All right.
The computers are just messed. Whenever we talk about this, computers are just messed up.
Well, have them say it again so they can comment on it. I know you're having some technical issues over there.
So I will. I forgot to mention this to Sydney, but last year I'm in a recovery house downtown, and the manager calls me into the office because my room was right next to his office, and we're quite good friends. And he tells me, Richard, look at this video. These are the cameras that are outside. Where people, you can see them come in and come out of the front gate. While the gentleman walks out, and then there's a woman that comes from behind the gate and walks behind him. And but when he puts it on reverse, it shows the man coming back in reverse into the yard and into the gate. I mean, opening the gate and coming back into the yard, but it doesn't show the woman. One was, it may be a spirit or a demon, I don't know. See the woman come back.
Sydney, Sydney, it might help if you have other windows open to close all your other windows except the Google Hangout window that we're on.
I don't know how to do this. I don't
Just
think
close
I do
all.
have any windows.
Okay. It's probably just your connection speed then.
Sam, you have anything
Oh, okay.
to say about
well,
this?
I always have.
Oh.
Whenever I'm talking about this, I have like computer problems and camera problems and stuff.
It's fine. Let's just move off on that picture. If you get it later, that's good. But I don't want the show to drag. So go ahead, Sam. You were going to say some stuff, and then we'll bounce it back to Jerry.
Okay, so the picture you were looking at that Taryn just showed you a moment ago was toward the south, out of the farmhouse. Now, for years ago, I delivered papers on the weekend, like Saturday or Sunday, kind of special paper delivery, just a little extra income on the weekends. Well, across the street from their house, there was a big farmer's field, just a hay field, very much out in the country. And there was a good quarter mile before the next house on the other side of the street. Well, now there's a small white house that one story that's probably about 26 by 40 feet square, a nice manicured U-shaped driveway, and several 20-year-old pines along that driveway or the back edge of that property that you can see from their driveway. And I asked them, so how long's that white house been across the street? And they kind of laughed and said, oh, that's always been there. Now, it hasn't always been there, because every week I would go there for years, and you know, they've lived there for 3 years, and I've been visiting them, and there's been nothing there across the street. But you can see from the age of the trees that, of course, it always has been there. So how do you rationalize and understand this? Well, is it an example of the blended dimensions where it wasn't there in our reality and now it looks as if it's always been there, but it's suddenly part of our reality as well? Now that's maybe what's going on with this person that you were seeing in the description that you were just, your friend Sydney, that was just describing about this woman that was in the picture and not in the picture. People, if it's happening to you, you're probably not going to perceive anything different. You're going to be walking along and then suddenly you'll start noticing things differently. But if someone else is watching you, like you were watching her, she could completely disappear or you know, be gone from the scene, and you're like, wow, what just happened to this person? Why is this, you know, what's happened to them? And the reality of it is they've shifted, but you haven't at that moment. I mean, it's one possibility.
The only reason why I brought it up was because of that story you mentioned about the rainbow. And then I recalled that incident with the manager and the cameras that he had out, you know, because he has to be keeping track of people coming and going. And he was a close friend. He became a close friend. So he showed it to me and I told him, wow, that's bizarre.
Yeah, that's...
you're going, but you never see her coming back.
Yeah, I think what we're going to be experiencing and what we are experiencing more of is more people having experiences like you're describing and seeing things change before their eyes and then turn back. Some people are describing how people's clothing has changed in front of them. I like to listen to some of the glitch in the matrix stories from Reddit. These people don't know what the Mandela effect is oftentimes, and they've just reported something they don't know how to cope with. And the stories are often very much in harmony or in line with what's been going on as described in the Mandela community. So for those of you who've tuned in and aren't up to speed on what we're talking about, this is the largest technological change that has happened in the history of humanity. The most expensive machine ever built, CERN, is one of over 30 major colliders that is playing
Sam,
a role in this.
that's a Mandela effect in itself right there, for me at least. I only knew, I mean, you know, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I just wanted to know why it was a Mandela effect for you, Burma.
I read Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons many years ago. I was a truck driver, many years ago. I mean, like, you know, you're probably talking, what, I don't know when Dan Brown first came out, but it was basically around that time. So I mean, I studied CERN back then, long time ago. And now there's how many colliders worldwide? Right. I mean, I can't even believe I've never heard of, you know, how do you not hear of those things?
There's one in the United States called Fermi Labs.
Yeah, that's outside of Chicago.
Okay, you heard of that one? Okay.
There's one in Texas.
It's a lot smaller. Fermi Lab, all of them are a lot smaller. There's also Brookhaven.
Oh yeah, CERN's one of the bigger ones. Yeah.
Brookhaven's the other one.
Right. So you know, some people say.
Sorry, Sam.
Oh no, that's fine, Burma. Some people say, you know, they built this thing to try and figure out how the particles of matter are assembled, and they were looking for the Higgs boson, and that may all be factors or, you know, part of the big picture. But think about this. If you started a new company or you wanted to start a new company with a new idea, a new product, and you had something completely revolutionary, the people who have the money, they're going to say to you, what do you expect? We're going to give you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, or maybe millions of dollars on an idea that you think might work? No, go away, come back when you've got proof of concept. Isn't that the way the world works? Right. So can you imagine they're going to spend, it's reported between 10 and $300 billion to make CERN, and they're going to do it not knowing what this thing does and what it's going to do? There's just no way.
No, they had it. They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing. So for me, see, here's an example. For me, Jiffy peanut butter disappeared in the middle 70s. I never saw it again after about 74. 72.
Somebody in the chat room was saying the same thing earlier, Sam, by the way.
And so I'm thinking to myself, when they had the smaller versions of the colliders, like Fermilab, they were able, and even the one that they developed in the 50s that got this whole process started, they were able to show small localized effects to the investors. And these people said, oh my God, however this thing works, they're able to manipulate reality with it. Yes, we want to give you more money. Yes, we want to further this research. Yes, we want to know more about it. Now, there's a lot of theories about how it works and how it does what it does, and speculations on the new D-Wave computers being tied into it. But, you know, we've got some evidences that can tell us a few things that we really need to notice. And if you guys want to talk about that, we can go that direction too, but I want to give other people a chance to.
What were you just speaking about?
I want to, I'm sorry, I wanted to jump in for a
There it
second.
is.
We finally got the picture up. It just took a little while to get it right. So you guys take a look. She's saying that her eyes colors switched with her sister. And I'm hoping that's not a UFO in the background and just a kite. So let's, what do you guys think?
See the ocean got washed out. I don't know. It's just really weird. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah. It is like,
There's no ocean.
it just bounced.
It could be the sun too.
Yeah, it looks like a sun blast, but it is pretty unusual.
But my sister has brown eyes, and I'm the one with that color of eyes, and it completely switched our eye color, but not our eyeballs because it's still my iris shape. So it only like switched our color, our like our irises or something.
Was this a digital camera?
Oh, that I'm not sure. This was when I was 27. I don't think it was because this would have been right when the first little flippy cell phones, I think, were coming in. Because I'm 41 now, so this is like got to be about what is that? 14 years ago?
Yeah, they had the flip
I
phones.
don't know if they were good enough to shoot something this high pixel back then. They were pretty crappy.
Sure, it
Really,
was
a megapixel.
I think it was a film, but
there's a closer shot if you want to see the eyes better.
Well, the shape of that picture there looks like a phone photo.
Oh no, she just cropped it so you could see it closer.
Okay, yeah. Well, if it's not, to me, if it's not a digital picture, it's even more likely to be a very significant example of some sort of Mandela effect. You know, the digital reconstruction that the camera does using the new kinds of lens that don't have film, it's more reasonable, even though it's still very much likely to be a Mandela effect, it's more reasonable to assume that the computer could have been manipulated within managing the pixels for the color, but not on a photographic plate one. It's not possible.
I remember I was really disturbed by that picture. I didn't like it at all, and I actually was gonna erase it, and I'm glad I didn't, because now like 10 years later, I'm like looking at it with new eyes, like maybe this was something like another alternate dimension for a split second showed through or something, like I don't know, maybe I do have brown eyes in another dimension.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You know?
see, that's totally cool. I'm jazzed about that perspective being a possibility, because it makes sense.
Right? Like maybe we have opposite eye colors in another dimension. I don't know.
Right.
But it was really weird. And the other people were saying like, look, that looks like UFO. Like, I don't know if it's just like the sun being blown out right then, or if the sun could create, I don't know. It's just the whole thing's very weird.
Have you tried to reproduce that photo?
No.
You should. I think we'll find your eyes will be dark still.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just the light and the angles you're at.
But why were her eyes my color?
Because she was at a 90-degree angle to the sun, and it might have been shooting into her, just the reflection and the way the light was.
But she has brown eyes, right?
Yeah,
your sister has brown eyes. Okay, I just have to jump in here. I have brown eyes, very, very brown eyes. My eyes have never looked blue in any photo I've ever taken, any photos, no matter if you're in the sun or not. So I'm not trying to blow yours out and say, say that you're wrong. I'm just trying to say that I don't know if light would change a person's brown eyes to being, her eyes looked really blue in that photo to me, like really crystal blue photo. you know.
If you zoom in, they're like, they're lit up. They're just like, you know, they're.
Now your eyes, I could see that being a little bit more tangible because your eyes look like they might change colors. Like a person with blue eyes, their eyes don't change too much. They stay blue. But a person that has brown eyes can, you know, they're just brown. Yeah, they can fluctuate a little bit, but not to being blue. I don't know.
No, well, I can't see the depth over the screen.
Oh, it's okay.
No, I can see your eyes. In fact, your eyes look a little brown when you're back away from the light. So.
But when she's close up, they really look green there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know when she did that before.
Yeah.
But when you're back there in the dark, they're kind of brownish, you know.
Yeah. But I don't know, in that picture, it's very, very clear that I have very brown eyes, like pure brown, like I've never had before in my whole life. And she has the very light grayish green eyes.
That's a cool picture. I mean, you should think that's cool. You shouldn't take that to a negative side. You should look at all these effects that you're going through as proof positive that there are something wonderful changing in the world. Yes, it's a little disturbing when you first go through it because it's like things are changing, right? Like your reality just shifts. But sit in it because it's not a negative thing. Like at first I was the same way. A year and a half ago, like when I first, I think we all have probably experienced Mandela effects going way back. It's probably been happening a long time for people and they just didn't realize it, right? Yeah. But when you come to the realization, this is what it's called, this is kind of sticking it in a box to some degree, but don't take it to the negative side because with energy, negative attracts negative. So if you need to take it to the positive side and say, look what is possible. Look what's possible. I mean, it just makes me so excited, you know?
Let it empower you. Don't let it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let it empower. Let it lift your energy upward. You know. Yeah. So that's the only thing I wanted to say to you because you're not alone. There's so many other people out there have experienced so many things very close to what you've experienced, and you found your people here. I mean, you should see Discord is amazing people with amazing stories that are very like-minded that would never think that you're crazy at all. So I just wanted to say that and I'm done talking.
No, I really, really appreciate that. I really appreciate it. You don't understand how much I appreciate that. And it means so much to me to hear you say that because I've
been experienced ghosts since I was a little kid, so I totally get what you're saying with the paranormal stuff. And coming out is hard. Coming out is very hard. Yeah. Coming out and telling one-on-one, it's fine, but you tell a bunch of people, you're kind of leaving it in their hands to think whatever they would like, but ultimately it doesn't matter. You know who you are. That's all that's important. You know you experienced it, right? Yeah. Don't let other people's opinions matter because they're all like, you know, everybody's got one. see, Taryn, I did good on that one. See, I didn't even say it.
You really held back your truck driver instincts there.
I've been doing really well with that. The F word hasn't dropped once.
Look how many kids watch this thing now. We're getting like
drawings and we got to like shout out to Zoe because Zoe's awesome. Zoe.
Last week, someone, I used to have this cat that came around and would sit on me during the shows and sit on me in the stories. And then the spring happened and he just got up and left. And he's been so bad in the spring, like he could care less if I'm here. And I just have to tell people that when they ask about the cat, I'm like, well, he's off at college now. Or maybe he's backpacking through Europe and he's got a little backpack with, you know, maybe a ball of yarn and he's trying to smuggle catnip across the border. I don't know. But he you know, like the backpackers that go to Europe. So that's it. My cat is just gone. And so Zoe, we have some 10-year-old fans that watch this show. And she drew some pictures of my cat. And they're pretty bad. They're pretty awesome. So we put them up. So there you go. So guys, keep it family friendly because apparently I'm getting more and more families watching this.
Okay. Well, I wanted to be a trekker for I didn't get to do it, but that was one of my first ideas to do. So I think that's pretty awesome. And I really appreciate that because.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I have actually, in the beginning of my life, I used to actually condemn myself. And I used to harp on myself and say things like, oh, I must just need attention, or there's something wrong with me, or
I think that's a type of indoctrination, honey. You know, you gotta we're
Like, I
like
thought I was
you guys
crazy
are talking
too.
about the flat earth, right? Ever since we're in school, what do you see when you're first walking into kindergarten? I'm not saying it's flat around. I'm not saying either way. I am saying that we are indoctrinated to think that it's a round earth, but more people throughout history have thought it's flat than the people that have believed that it's round for that time. You know what I mean? So I don't, so I just, yeah, and the truck driving thing, yeah, it was cool
I
for a
noticed
period of
that
time.
our top indoctrination is to like be really rude and scoffing and sort of look down on people who have any experience that's not, you know, just that this is all that's here. And they actually act like they're better than you and smarter than you, and they really, really put you down and act like you're crazy. And then sometimes they'll act like you're crazy. I even had an ex once that told me he was going to have me committed, so I got very, very frightened, not only in myself that I was crazy, but that other people would think I was crazy and it could affect my life, you know, how they thought about me and my jobs. And so that was a very, very frightening thing for me. When I started having evidence and witnesses, it really, really helped me
I bet.
internally, you know, for myself. And, you know, so I'm like actually so grateful to these guys, even though they don't know it, because they went through the Mandela effect with me. And, you know, it's, I don't think anybody realizes how scary it can be to think that you yourself might be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think there's every single person on this panel at one time. I remember watching Dr. Taryn's show, and how if you watch his first couple about the Mandela effect, he's getting there. He's not, you can tell. He's where we all are when we first realize it. That implication. It's hard to wrap your mind around, but yeah, I mean,
Thank you. Yes.
it is very hard to wrap your mind around, but just sit in it and know that there are people here that, you know, you guys want to talk, we're here, you know.
And if you're saying, like, you know, hey, you're worried people are going to commit you and people are going to, you know, turn you in, it's a lot harder when you hang out with a community of hundreds of people that are talking about the exact same thing than if you're on an island by yourself and you're the only person shouting about it.
Right.
You know, it's a lot harder if you're worried about stuff like that when there's, I mean, look at all of us from different professions, different lives, and I would think we are rational people. Like, if you talk to us, you'd never know we thought these things until you asked us. We're not like crazy people.
Oh,
so
go ahead, Verb. I have a story from
today. I experienced it with somebody. You know,
yeah.
First time, stayed by myself.
Right. Absolutely. Today, okay, so I was working today, and I had told one of my clients, who's a pretty open-minded person, a little bit about the Mandela effect. I told him about a song. Okay, so my huge one for me, very personal, not on the internet. This is when I went through it, and I thought it was just an internet thing, right? They could change anything on the internet nowadays, right? Until I'm a huge music person, so I've been listening to Queen for a very long time, since I was a little girl. I was born in the 70s, and I know the songs. So there was the one about now I'm trying to think of the name of it because my brain's not wanting to work with me. We Are the Champions, and the end of that song, of the world is no longer there. So I went out to my CD that I've had for 10 years in my car. I popped it in, and at the end, it wasn't there. And I started like, what? I'm freaking out. And then like a couple days later, I'm listening to iHeartRadio, and the song comes on, and the end's not there. And the next day, I hear it in the car. So, okay. So I was telling him about this, and he was driving in his car, and he has the song comes on the radio, randomly comes on the radio. And in the middle of it, he says it was the weirdest thing. In the middle of the song, it just didn't play the rest of the song. He said the next song then came on, and it was like it just stopped in the middle, no airtime, no dead time. It was just stopped, and the next song started playing in the middle of the song. Like, I don't know what that means, but he was like, that was really weird.
That happened to me the first time I Googled Bernstein Bears, because I loved the Bernstein Bears and I was an avid reader, and I know it was the Bernstein Bears, like it was like a Jewish bear thing, right? Not Stain. And I looked up on my phone on Google, which still spells it the old way, by the way. My phone spells it the old way. And I looked it up on Google because I was freaking out. And it, like, my phone has never done this before. It crashed. Google crashed completely. It froze my entire phone and like crashed my phone. And I was like, you know, hitting things. And then finally I got it all to come back up, and it popped up all nice with Bernstein bears, and I was like, but it definitely, my phone crashed Google for the first time I searched Bernstein bears. Bernstein, I mean. Yeah, and it still spells it the old way. Like my phone and my objects are sometimes still spelling things the old way, the way I remember, like as if it came with me from the other place. So I don't know if you're experiencing that same thing.
Not on my devices. I definitely have.
I think it's kind of the same thing that happened with the song. It must have been a crash in that reality.
I don't know. It was weird. He was even a little, because he's not a Mandela person, right? It was just somebody who like was open-minded enough just to give him a little bit of information to see where he would go with it. And when he came back and told me that, I was like, yeah, that's really odd. That's really odd that he would just listen to the song and that it would just cut out in the middle. It just happened to be that song that we were just talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So, I mean, it was interesting.
I experienced somebody in the office going through a Mandela effect. I was in training for my license, and the guy training us said something about Mr. Rogers' word of the day, and a younger lady said, there was never any Mr. Rogers of the day, word of the day. And he was like, and I didn't even know that was a Mandela effect because nobody's talked about that. And he was like, oh, you just ruined my whole childhood. Of course there was a Mr. Rogers word of the day. And I looked it up online, and there's tons of residual evidence of it, but apparently he never says that anymore. And he kind of went like he shook his head. And she was just like, no, there was never. I watch all Mr. Rogers. There was never a word of the day. And it was really weird to watch two people having a Mandela effect that you knew they were having a Mandela effect, but they didn't know they were having a Mandela effect. And I didn't know what to do at that point. I didn't want to jump in and ruin their lives. You know, I didn't want to I didn't want to make them freak out like I was. And like, oh,
sorry, I'm about to change your reality.
Yeah, I'm about to bust your mind right now. But yeah, I kind of secretly, I sent him a text later with Mr. Rogers' word of the day says retire, right, as a joke. And he laughed about that to sort of support him in that, like, I know his reality was real, even if nobody else.
Yeah, there's just too many of us. There's way too many of us. And,
remember,
you know, for this not to be something that's happening now, what it is, what it really truly is, none of us really know. We all have theories. It might be this, it might be that, but none of us really know. And until that day we get that solid proof, you know.
Government mind control experiment. It's a giant government mind control experiment.
I don't know how that's even.
It could be.
Maybe.
That's a joke.
You know, they've been saying, one of the things I keep saying is you can read somebody's mind waves. Why can't you inject thought waves? If you can read the waves coming out, which
it can
we
be
know
done. There's patents for it.
Why can't it come in? And why this could be a testing phase? That's one of the things I'm very not cool with. Like I don't want this to be a testing phase upon us. We're talking about HARP putting those things up in the air. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to say the new 5G networks that are coming online, those are in the frequency range of human thought. So it is possible that they could interfere, but they're not up yet. But something to look forward to.
Well, I don't look forward to that. I kind of like my brain to be my own, you know, my body to be my own. That's one thing I thought that maybe I had. So, but I remember a lot of conspiracy people were saying at one time that the HARP, they were putting up something called HARP and it was projecting waves into the sky and stuff. And I'm kind of like, I hope, you know, not something that's happening right now. That's all. But I think we do need to investigate it. People need to really be critical and not every one of us, I think, leans to one theory or the other. And I hope we can stay open-minded so that we can figure out what's going on, because it could be kind of critical, you know, for us to find out what it actually is. Especially if it is some kind of like transhumanism attempt upon us or sabotage on us or something, you know. Like,
that's an ongoing thing, though. That's been happening. It's going to continue to happen.
When was HARP? I mean, not HARP. When did CERN actually? Does anybody know the date that was made? The first one.
CERN with the LHC.
Yeah. Do you know the date of that?
CERN, they were talking about this in chat. That CERN existed long before the LHC did.
Well, it's probably the LHC that's what's, you know what I mean?
Right. Collider came online in the 90s, I think.
The Large Hadron Collider, the 27-mile long one, came online in 2013 for the first time, and then promptly broke down.
13, huh?
And then it was restarted 2 years later with a massive power increase in capacity, and has been running on and off with their experiments since 2015.
Is that when they started shooting lead?
They started shooting the lead
To get the tera electron volts?
right, the protons with the hydrogen. And now they have the technology that they don't even need the Large Hadron Collider, and they can actually speed up and cause the collisions in only 90 meters.
Wow.
So it's going to be dramatic how.
Wow.
You know what's interesting about CERN? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you to Christy for mentioning that it was in that book, Angels
Oh.
and Demons. And
Yeah, it's Burma, but it's okay. Everybody does it. Oh, I thought you were saying my name.
Burma. Sorry, Burma.
No, that's all right.
You're saying that the CERN was in that book about
Yeah, they were Angels and Demons.
And the first one to that series, or the second one, what was that?
I think the first one in the series is Angels and Demons, Da Vinci
is.
Code, and then there's another one I have, but I haven't read it yet. So
okay, I'm gonna look into that because I loved that book, Da Vinci Code, and it seems like if it's in there, there must be some kind of clues. I'm gonna just reread that.
well, he's really odd because I mean, first of all, I'm a book reader as long as it's factual, right? So that's like really the first books that I read that it was a story, but he has factual stuff in it. You know what I mean? Why did the Da Vinci Code he got death threats about the Da Vinci Code because of the implications of what he was saying with religion. So, I mean, and he was a Mason. He was a Mason as well.
Allegedly got death threats.
Oh, sorry. Allegedly.
I mean, that builds a lot of hype. It gets people excited to read it. You know, I'm just saying.
No,
Marketing.
but I'm not marketing him. You know, I mean, like he's not a friend. I'm just saying that about the book. You know,
but this came out of his camp, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
His marketing.
Yeah, it's just
A lot of the Da Vinci Code was based on a book called Holy Blood, Holy Grail that was written, I think, in the late 80s. It's pretty much the same story, the Mary Magdalene story, the Chateau de Rennes. It's all in there. But CERN has been here since '54. It's the Large Hadron Collider that's new.
Yes.
So.
Well, I was just wondering because some people you go back and they talk about the Mandela effect and talk about how they've experienced it when they were very young, right? So, you know, if it is in fact CERN, I wanted to know, like, how could they, you know what I mean? Unless it's a time travel thing, you know what I mean? Like, of changing things.
The people you have to think about their testimonies, I think Burma, and this is a very relevant observation, have their experiments begin or have their observations begin, or are they being reported after 1959? Because it was about June of 1959 where the very first small collider was created. And if you have if you live in a small town or you were in the town out in California where that was developed, I think it was Berkeley. But anyway, as they built more of them and expanded the territory and decided they needed a big one and kept making bigger and bigger ones, making a regional effect or a city effect into a regional effect into a state or country effect, and then a world effect with CERN. And now they've got 130 of the D-Wave computers hooked up to these various ones all over the internet. Yeah, they're all linked. So you're getting coordinated efforts.
Sam, CERN is like the #1 usage of bandwidth on the internet too right now.
Oh, jeez.
Interesting.
Hey, Sam, what did CERN do before the collider existed? Because I've always known them I learned about them when the collider came up, but I wasn't really paying attention. What was their job? Like, what did they do before the collider?
Well, they were a think tank for theoretical physicists since their inception. So they would have smaller colliders, and they did the experiments they could do with the limitations of those. Now, the Fermi Lab in '96 was the one that discovered quarks. That's the one near Chicago. That's what they're famous for. So
pays for all those.
I have heard of that. So
I'm sorry, Terry?
Who pays for all this?
Well, that's a good question. You've wondered why we have $900 hammers coming out of the Pentagon?
Right.
This
Every
is
country
secret black
contributes.
budget.
A $3,000
So
toll fee.
You
Every
think
country contributes to CERN.
we have
They
to
Yeah.
do? Since the 50s?
Well, I don't know about since the 50s, but since the scientific community started gaining momentum for physicists and the development of CERN. Since 1978, they've been trying to build CERN. So,
Yeah, I mean, how do you build something that's 27 miles long with, that kind of stuff? And
somebody's getting
where's this money? I mean,
somebody's getting overcharged somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, come
Americans.
on. Because I'm wondering what country, it's not in America, so why the hell is America paying for it? Like where?
Yeah. Well,
where's the money
this
coming
shows
from?
you that the one world government is much more an active reality
Yeah.
than people may have suspected, because
When
we
they
can't
could
get
pull
along
that
on,
off.
yeah, we can't get along on political fronts, but when it comes to scientific and exploration of continents, South America, Antarctic, you've got no argument. It's like somebody's saying, here's what's going to happen, and everybody agrees and they go do it. So
Right. I'm sure there's like some sort of secret knowledge where they got the leaders together and said, here's what's already coming out. Now you can be part of this or left behind.
sure.
Start chipping in because here's the proof we have. By the way, we opened a dimension and pulled across a damn unicorn. Here, look.
Well,
You think I'm lying? I'm joking, but if all realities are possible, you can pull.
No, I know, because of that dang freaking the mammal in the ocean. That's the unicorn. What is it called? The whale.
Narwhal?
That's yes. Thank you very much.
A narwhal.
Yeah.
Hey, did you ever consider that maybe that this came, like we already had this in ancient Egypt and it got destroyed? And then we started kind of carving in stone and going back to the, but like that maybe AI or something could be controlling it has always been here waiting to come back. Or
Why
something.
Egypt? Why did you say Egypt?
Energy.
Well, Egypt is where I believe, because I was studying the pyramids for referencing them, cross-referencing them to the Tesla energy thing, and it's built the same way as the pyramids. He had a pyramid thing up here. Yeah, and he had the limestone and water. It looks like a pyramid, so I thought maybe the pyramids were energy structures. And as I studied it more and more, and I'm seeing all these reports of things in the past that look like, it looks like we had helicopters back then and all kinds of technology possibly.
There was just one hieroglyphic with something that looked like a helicopter. There was nothing else.
Aren't the pyramids?
We don't know that wasn't put there.
But there are reports that there was a watch that was discovered in the rock back then, that there was like other things that have been found. One lady just wrote in on my channel and said they found drawings of what looks like a circuit board on the inside of the Mecha stone. I don't know. I haven't seen that.
And isn't the pyramids on ley lines too? On the earth?
Yes.
They would be if the earth wasn't tilted.
Oh, okay, well, before our tilt happened, and I do realize that that's happened because now it's funny. This way is west for me, okay? And the sun is now setting out this way.
Yeah.
It's changed so much for summertime for here. So, I mean, like, that to me is like anyway, I just had to say that.
Okay, the other thing is I studied the moon, and when I was studying the moon's path, it goes very slowly, rotates down to the south sky, and then within 2 days, it pops back to the north sky. It acts really unnatural. So that's another thing I would ask people to watch. I watched it every night at
That's not the only thing that's unnatural about that moon.
Or about the stars. I mean, it seems all off to me. It has for a while.
So here's the thing I want to ask. What if we just can't remember things well, and the past is really based on our memories? And because when a general consensus of people agree to something in the past, that's the way it is.
No, I would say that, but I definitely remember it was Sex in the City. I remember my interview with the vampire CD, I looked at it. It's changed to that,
right.
And it really like it's physical.
Well, Jerry,
he remembers my path disappearing on me 3 minutes later.
Jerry,
This happened within 3-5 minutes. It wasn't like we had 10 years to forget this path,
Right. Jerry,
So
you bring up an interesting point, and Sydney, if I can jump in also on that topic. Okay, so they're making these great efforts with the chemtrails to dose us all with high levels of aluminum, which is a extremely significant contributor to Alzheimer's. Also, notice one of the characteristics of Alzheimer's patients. My father's starting to get it. He's 83, and I'm noticing how this works. It's not easy to make new memories, and the new memories, even though in his case, for example, you can have a completely normal conversation with him, and the next morning or several hours later, he's forgotten the conversation ever occurred. So yet he can remember all the old things from all the decades past as if, you know, there's nothing wrong. Now, that's the early stages. Okay, so if you want to change people and overwrite their way of thinking, and you have a technology that can do it on a quantum level to give these mass, I've been reading various physicists' theories about how this works. And what they have posited is that amongst all of us, we share 30% on a unconscious level of memories that are stored in our brain, another 30 to 50% in the subconscious level, and then only about 10% up in the conscious level of our, you know, when we draw them out and are using them actively. So it's sort of like a library or storage bank. Now, what they're saying is, and these are the people who are like supposedly leaking. They're coming out as scientists who are doing this, and they're leaking the truth about what they're up to. And they're saying that that they have certain control over overriding this subconscious level that we all share in common, a collective sort of memory. But for some reason, some people are not affected. So their old memories are not overwritten. Now, their suspicion, and they're trying to work on this, is that it's because certain people have the ability to be strongly individualistic. They know what they know. They are confident in their memories. They have a certainty in that experience, and somehow that makes them more impervious to the effect of this technology. Now, that might put that memory into a different part of your brain than most people keep their memories in. So if there's a common pattern of brain waves that they're affecting when they issue this new memory through their technology, everyone who thinks normally, it will affect them. But everyone who has this sense of independence and know what they know as their own being, it doesn't matter if somebody else agrees with me, this is the truth for me, and they have it in a different part of their brain, then their programming, it's like their programming is not going into the right kind of computer. So it's not changing your memories. And this bothers them.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense, Sam. Holy mackerel.
That really sounds like a short-term to long-term disconnect.
It does.
You know, but also, Sam, I wanted to say too, the Alzheimer's, and because I worked in a wing as a nursing assistant for a while with that. I'm sorry about that, first of all, because it's never easy to watch anybody go through that. Secondly, people that get older in their 80s and 90s lose that short-term memory as it is. Alzheimer's is just it's a lot. I think it happens earlier sometimes, earlier than what it would for a person. Do you get what I'm saying by that?
Yes, I certainly do. Yeah.
And it's more frequent, and they'll start not recognizing people that they've known a long time. That's the other thing that starts happening. But in any case, that was a really good theory, Sam, though. I like that.
Can I mention something about Alzheimer's, please?
Oh, yeah,
sure.
Go ahead.
First of all, I do feel very independent, and I think my thing's about to die, so we probably should go. But I wanted to mention that I would appreciate it if you would look into Lyme disease, because it's a genetically modified syphilis that has been bioengineered. It's the only living thing on plain Earth that doesn't use iron to replicate. It uses manganese, so that shows that it's unnatural. And it's been, at least in a lot of cases of Alzheimer's, I'm not saying all Alzheimer's is Lyme disease, but it's possible that it is Lyme disease, because a lot of cases are for sure at least being misdiagnosed. And if that could help you, then, you know, maybe you can look into that, because it's just a bacterial infection, and it's been misdiagnosed as MS, ALS, Alzheimer's, Crohn's, diabetes, and a lot of other things out there.
Fibromyalgia is another one, yep.
Yeah, so I don't want to give any false hope or anything, but if you could look into that, you know, maybe that.
Thank you, Sydney.
If it is that or misdiagnosed, yeah, then maybe that could help.
I've read that. It's related to the spirochete for syphilis, yeah. that it was engineered by off
I
that?
know because I came
Sydney,
down with Lyme myself.
I'm sorry,
so-
Sydney, if you drop out, just come back on in your phone if you're out of power.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead and keep going though. Yeah, it's basically they say it's a bacteria that acts a lot like syphilis, which is strange. Lyme's disease is really strange because it is a bacteria, but if sometimes it acts like a virus. So it's a weird. There's just
retrobacteria.
It's a tough one to kill.
And genetically engineered. it's engineered.
Sure. Yeah. I think their new weapon is Morgellons, though.
Well, they are saying that it's connected to Morgellons, which freaks me out because they're also saying that Morgellons is possibly the thing that has the AI that a lot of people say has AI, which freaks me out because I'm like, could that be affecting our brains and our memories? I came down with Lyme recently. My cat got sick and died first. I got Lyme. I've been battling it, and started like it was my own research and theories that this could be a lot of other diseases, not just what they're saying is Lyme. And then I found out a lot of other people think that, and that syphilis was called the great imitator too. That Lyme is not the only great imitator. Syphilis itself was called the great imitator, and it imitated like tons of other diseases. So what I'm afraid of right now is that this is all part of the same thing, that, you know, when we went into Afghanistan and Vietnam, I know this is getting very political, but those were the heroin capitals of the world. Heroin is needed for pharmaceutical drugs. Pharmaceutical drugs are needed to create drugs for symptoms that never cure you but keep you addicted to it, right? Yeah, he said for illness that they may be creating. So if they're creating illnesses and telling us it's something else, painkillers and things like that, causing wars over it, you know, and especially if it's connected to Morgellons. So I don't have the whole picture in my head yet, but it's sort of falling into a giant puzzle that's not very kind. It's very nefarious. I don't like it very much. I don't like the fact that I have Lyme, you know, and I've been battling it. And then I heard from another guy that he said that Lyme and Morgellons is connected and may be somewhat the same thing, and that a certain percentage of people rejects Morgellons, and the other percentage are all infected, but they don't have symptoms. But certain people, their bodies, brains, or whatever are rejecting it, and we're getting symptoms. So we think we have it when actually everyone has it, and that our bodies are actually fighting it. And he was claiming that, you know, we're the ones that it's not, they're not getting us, basically. Like, we think they are because we're having symptoms, but we're actually the ones that are off whatever's happening to us.
Have you seen any of the work of Dr. Carnicom and his Morgellon studies?
No, I haven't, but if you have any here, I'd be interested.
I can't paste the link, but I can put it in the other chat. Yeah, he's pretty much decided that 100% of the people in the world have whatever that is, that Morgellons. But I believe he said, you know, if you stay alkaline, it won't affect you. It's when you go into an acidic state is when it really hits you.
Well, and that's, I mean, people need to realize that that's the way they need to be anyway, right?
Correct, right.
But a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't. I don't think I knew that until I went to school for massage therapy, and they teach all that. Maybe Doc too. You know, did you realize beforehand?
You know, unfortunately, as a doctor, something comes by every other month. It'll be, you know, all of a sudden your blood type and what you eat is really important. Then the next month it's, you know, alkaline diets is a thing. And then the next month it's ketosis diets is a thing. And so, like, I've seen so much stuff come and go, and all of it has some sort of merit. It's, you know, I always push a closer to natural diet as possible, like no processed food, eating just fruits and vegetables. When you do that, guess what? Your blood becomes alkaline, and all these good things happen. It's just when you start adding meat and processed food and dairy and all that junk, do you go really acidic and start getting sick.
Really good stuff.
It's almost when you eat a lot of preservatives, they start acting on your body as preservatives, like all the nitrates and whatnot.
Isn't there, what is the study out there that says that when people pass away, they don't even need to embalm them because we have so much preservatives in our body that our bodies last for a pretty good amount of time after we die? I mean, that's crazy.
You know, even worse than that,
a lot
of the local water supplies have like really high quantities of antidepressants in them from people taking them and then urinating, and it goes into the public water. And those things aren't really filtered out as part of the reclamation process. So
Yeah.
a lot of people are getting SSRIs and don't even realize it, really low doses, but still it's there.
I wonder about that in cities like San Diego that have been recycling their wastewater for decades now.
So I'm gonna left that part out. In cities that recycle, yes.
Yeah. There's also a concerted effort to introduce lithium into bottled drinking water. People aren't aware that they're doing that now.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I remember
Can really become a bunch of zombies.
they were testing all this water coming out of the city, and it's because so many people are on medications. There's all kinds of stuff that doesn't get filtered, like a lot of the hormones, the especially like the testosterone creams and all that stuff comes through. They were finding all kind. So you know, I always that's the one thing I don't skimp on. I buy a good water filter, and maybe one of these days I'm gonna get a distiller. I just haven't bulked up yet to do it.
Well, the problem with distillers, Taryn, I worked with those for years back in the 80s, and it's actually counterintuitive. You don't want to drink distilled water. If you have a distiller, then you've got to mix it with some clay or some other muddy substances to give you the mineralization in that water. And the reason for it is that water has a double negative ionic bond. In other words, the H2O, those two oxygen molecules they're low on electron. So they literally try and vacuum up whatever's nearby. And if you take distilled water, your body's the source that it's going to draw into the water. Now, the reason that's a concern is because you need those minerals to have everything functioning correctly, of course.
Part of that's a lot of wives' tale. That's internet lore. It's not real, because it usually only picks up minerals you don't need and don't want. It's very hard to extract minerals out of stuff.
It is if the water's there. But here's my personal experience. I had sold water distillers to two very good friends. I hadn't seen them for 6 months. When I saw them again, both families, a husband and wife, two couples, both couples had developed osteoarthritis in their back and necks, and had developed old people's curvature of their spine. I felt so bad for them. In addition, the guy who I bought the distillers from, he was an older gentleman in his late 60s, and his hearing and eyesight was progressively getting worse, and he was already wearing Coke bottle glasses and hearing aids turned up to the max. Now, those are symptoms of extreme deficiency, very rapid extreme deficiency. And I was also using one at the time, but it wasn't the only thing. I was still taking water from other sources. That's all I'm saying is you've got to neutralize that aspect of the
I keep hearing different sides of this. I'm going to bring Vegan and you on and let y'all talk it out, because he's a big proponent of distilling. I like the idea of distilling because it's the cleanest water, but it's and I've heard it leaches minerals, but then when you actually look at the research, it doesn't really hold up at all. It's a lot of minerals you don't need it leaches. It's very hard. So if you're telling me you actually have personal experience where it strips somebody into osteoporosis, that's news to me, man.
Oh,
Never
man,
heard
yeah.
of doing that.
It was shocking. But you see, they went around the world. This is the last thing I'll say on this topic. Scientists went around the world in the 1950s and tried to figure out what cultures were the most healthy and lived the longest disease-free in the world. There were 7 cultures they found. Every culture drank something called glacial milk water, which is the water that runs out from under melting glaciers in high altitude locations. And that glacier water is so full of minerals it looks white because it's ground up by the melting glaciers. They put it on their crops, and they would drink it, and when they did autopsies on these people who had lived without cancers and into their 100, and 105 was very common, they found that minerals were in every cell of their body. They don't know why the body would put certain minerals in certain cells, but every cell. And when they would leave those environments and go down where there wasn't those conditions, they were prone to develop the same kinds of diseases. So yeah, it's a big topic, but that's bottom line.
That's interesting.
It is.
It's very interesting.
Your body will throw off what you don't need.
Welcome back.
That's what makes me leery of the urine drinkers.
Don't you
Well,
know
there's-
that's the best thing to drink? No, I'm just joking.
Well, I hear prisoners of war develop a habit.
That's different.
Wait, I think Sydney's trying to get in here, but we can't hear her. Sydney, can you give it a test?
I got dropped out right when he was giving me like some possible cure for Lyme, and I'm feeling really sad about that. Do you think you could email it to Dr. Tarrant to send to me?
Sydney, you're going to have to speak louder. For some reason, your microphone's all messed up. We can barely hear you.
I can hear her.
She said something about a cure for Lyme.
She broke off during when Sam was talking about the fix, and she said, "Can you email it to her, please?"
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. Well, I can hook you guys up after this in the chat room. You guys can pass it back and forth all you like.
Yeah, you better
And,
come into the chat room for a little bit.
There's a
You'll have
couple
good
people
time.
that have Lyme disease in the chat room. They'll talk with you about what works. I've had some experience with it, but I'm not an expert in Lyme. I need to be. There's so much of it up here. So I'm going to go take some classes, I think, this year in it to get better at it. I basically used electromedicine a lot. Things like Rife machines and stuff like that to deal with it. But, you know, I don't know how successful it was. It's still up in the air.
Well, those Rife machines, if they do what they claim they do, the initial experiments they did with the Rife medicine before the AMA got in there and distorted all the and got rid of them, that's the secret to having disease eliminated from your body. What he did with harmonics.
Yeah, it's neat stuff, but now our frequencies are all changing and everything. I don't know what the hell works and what doesn't anymore.
Well,
I
maybe
used to
it's-
use a Rife machine in my practice, and I got pretty damn good results with it. It helped a lot of people with stubborn chronic stuff. So I don't know if it works on Lyme's or not. That's probably how I would deal with it. But I honestly am not the best person to ask. I've got to educate myself more on
Have
it.
you ever worked with the Skio machines?
The mosquito machines?
Skio, SCIO.
No.
They're
What's
like
that?
it's
What's
a
the principle?
scalar wave technology.
I've
Who
not.
has those?
The military.
Of course.
What do they do with them?
It's a healing machine. I could find a link for you.
Yeah.
It's all
I'd be interested in
frequency.
learning
It's all based in frequency. It makes sense because our bodies are chakras and frequency, and you guys are all talking about frequencies, whether you're talking about different machines or not, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, see,
if it's all getting messed up from Wi-Fi and towers and HARP and chemtrails and
Yeah.
everything else,
Harp and chemtrails and towers. Oh my!
And oh my God, he had a gun. I mean, he did not have a gun in that movie. What is up with that one? But yeah, I mean, it would be hard to counterbalance that frequency now. Like Dr. Tarrant, if you were to go back and use that machine on people, I wonder how much different it would be for you now to help them with that in comparison. You know what I mean?
I don't know, because it used to be very specific frequencies would do specific things. Now what I do is I use just the square wave inverter that just blasts everything. It's just a wide, broad it goes up and down through frequencies. So that's the
So
best.
you have to bring that for
shot I have.
Porkfest.
Yeah, I'll bring it up if you want to play with it.
I would love to see that.
They've become, when I first started, you're talking back in 20 years ago, and you had to build your own, and it was like ridiculous to try to get a Rife machine. And then I had one that was really rare that used gases and sound at the same time. And they look like big glass wands with different argon and gases in them, and you would use them over different areas, and that was pretty interesting too. I got some decent results with that. But now they've come down so cheap. You guys can get them for like $100, a little home unit.
Was it like a violet wand?
A pilot?
Violet.
Violet. It had, you know how the colors match up with the chakras? Some of the colors, when you light up argon gas, match up as well. So there'll be a violet and a blue and a yellow. They put in different gases, noble gases. They had them in wands that would, when you turned them on, they actually made a frequency sound, and they looked like they were like blown glass that were in circles. And that was back when I was making
forms
crazy.
Of neon.
Yeah, that's a violet wand. That's one. There's an attachment for most of the Royal Rife machines. It's called a violet wand.
Oh, violet wand. but it had
a
many,
circle.
many.
It had different attachments. It was just one attachment I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's something to that science, but it sounds
but-
like the wands were kind of perhaps more emotionally gimmicky or something.
And they're all legal now. You can't buy them here in the States, you know, for cheap.
Oh, that must mean that they were effective.
I was just going to say that.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that it's they used to be very difficult to pay in the butt, and you'd sometimes have to make your own. But now they just got like little home units. They're like $100, and they're easy. Now I can't put a huge amount of weight in that because I have not done extensive blood testing where, you know, I put someone who had an infection and then hit them and then retest it. But it's mainly anecdotal stuff. I need to just do it one day and run the before and after blood test. But
That's interesting because then
that's
it
all
gives
I'm
you
saying.
proof, you know?
Well,
I mean,
there's
like,
only
it's like
in
doing
my-
Reiki. Sorry.
no, it's okay. In my opinion, there's only one Lyme's disease test out there that's worth a damn, and that is the one out of from Cyrex panel. Cyrex runs a Lyme disease test that actually is accurate. Most of the other stuff's so unambiguous. You'll get tested a bunch of times. It'll say you don't have it, and then, you know, the fourth time it says you do, and then Cyrex actually has a test that works, but it's not cheap. So a lot of times, you know, people don't want to drop a lot of money on a test out of pocket and then have to do it again and again and again, you know, as they're going through. So it's usually just a money thing, but there are tests out there that'll confirm if stuff works or not.
Well, a couple of months ago, they mentioned that there's now an additional Lyme disease, tick disease, tick-borne disease, ehrlichiosis, as well as Lyme's. And then, is anyone familiar with this news article? You know which the name of it? I can't think of the name
Actually,
of it.
my mother and my student, well,
Watson,
I might as well, but so I got sent a link to something along those lines that they are just coming out with saying something, right, recently about that.
What is it,
Ticks have something else. Sorry.
Watson.
But
Watson.
Dr. Taryn, I think that it's really weird that you're saying that because I've been trying to figure out Rife. I really want to do Rife, and I've been hearing that it's like the only good thing for Lyme from a lot of sources. I've tried other things. I really think my symptoms are reducing. They're down 90%.
Lyme's is so stubborn that it would help. I think, in my opinion, I don't know if it'll get rid of it completely. It depends on what stage it's in and what it's doing, but it sure as heck would help. It's basically kind of like an electric antibiotic.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but you know, whatever. Don't believe me.
Well, I've
You
seen
don't wanna-
videos of it exploding bacteria, so under microscopes. I don't know. I was just something I wanted to try, so I'd love to talk to you about that.
It's worth a try. It's just because it's so. Like I said, we'll talk more about this in the chat room because there's some people that know a great deal about Lyme's in there, but that's where I would start. But I'm not an expert in it. I'm telling you that right now. I know a lot about a lot of chronic diseases, but Lyme's is its own difficult animal, so I need to get better educated on it. But I can't see if anything is just not going to work. There's going to be no negative side effects I can think of. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Also, I was studying bacteriophages. Apparently, the Russians were doing that before antibiotics. So bacteriophages actually are the viruses of bacteria, and they'll actually go attack the bacteria, and they can never be out. They never become ineffective because they can transform themselves as fast as a bacteria can. So that was another. I'm really into alternative health as well. So.
Taryn, wasn't your guy about the mushrooms talking about something about Lyme's disease?
Yeah, that they're
mushrooms?
they're growing mushrooms that can kill it now. So that was an interesting thing, mushroom technology, because mushrooms are in bacteria naturally are enemies, and mushrooms and mold don't like each other. And mushrooms are really, really smart at figuring out how to kill bacterias. So what they do is they take these mushrooms and drop the bacteria in, and after a little while, the mushroom figures out some sort of, you know, cytokine or that it puts out, or creates an antibody that is specifically targeted just for that bacteria, and then they take that thing it's making and mass produce it, and it kills that. So like whatever bacteria you have, if it's a funky strain that won't die, They take it out of you. They take some blood. They take the bacteria and put it on some mushrooms, grow it, get the byproduct that the mushroom's creating to kill the bacteria and put it back in you. And it seems to work. They let the mushroom figure it out.
I know it sounds stupid. I feel like it's destiny. Like there's a reason I'm supposed to talk to you about this. I've been looking for something like that and wanting to learn about the right mushrooms. And I know, yeah, the mushrooms do work because what is penicillin? It's a freaking fungus, right? It's a mushroom.
Yeah, mushrooms. You should go back and watch my mushroom show I had about 2 weeks ago. There was some fascinating stuff.
I was gonna watch it, especially because I also was reading that I think in the Vedas or something like that, there is a mushroom that they call the immortality mushroom, and they don't know which. They think it might be the fly agaric. Some people think, but there was a plant, and most people think it was a mushroom that was reported that a long time ago we had. It would basically make you live, you know, like it says in the Bible, like 2,000 years or something. Like people would live really, really long time. So I think there's a lot of mushrooms and plants that we are probably being kept unaware of their practically magical properties.
I love the fact that she's in California. The sun is behind her, and I'm like absolutely dark. I love that about California. Right? You know what I mean? The sun's still up there, and we're like total darkness over here on the East Coast, you know?
I love the fact that Sydney has such interest in all these various topics and has a good handle on, you know, the understanding of them. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. See, maybe I just needed to get to the right crowd of people.
You you found your light tribe.
Very
yeah.
Sure.
Wait till you come to Discord. You're gonna love that. You're gonna love Discord. You got to come. You're gonna just feel it. You're gonna feel the love. You're gonna understand why we have that there. It's gonna be awesome.
What is it?
It's called Discord.
It's a terrible name, but it's a chat room kind of like Skype. It's sort of like Skype. It's a giant chat that we all go to after the show, and we hang out and talk. And there's people in there usually throughout the day. If you don't mind, it's really hard to hear you. Can you hold the microphone a little closer to your mouth, or keep your hands over it or something?
I had to join on my iPhone because my iPad died.
It's much better once you're closer. It's just some reason the little mic was getting blocked.
I have to go get my.
It's almost like you're not on speakerphone.
Earphones. I have to. Go
actually, the earphones. You're fine without them. I don't need to hear unless you just want to use the microphone on it.
Okay. Okay.
You see blonde hair.
I'll try.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
See a big close up.
I know. It was like big eye.
all you get to see now is my eye.
Yeah,
someone asked in the chat, Sydney, what if you were an RH negative blood type?
I don't know my blood type. I keep seeing these weird videos on the blood type, and I don't know anything about that yet, but I don't know my blood type.
I'm a positive, by the way, just FYI.
What's the theory? Why does everybody think RH negatives?
I don't know. There's also something that people were saying about O positive and O negative. Now, this is the thing. I was a phlebotomy. Okay, I'm like the jack of all trades, right? But I did phlebotomy for a few years. And O negative in my existence has always been the most rare blood type because it can be used for every single blood out there. Everybody can use O negative, but only O negative can use O negative. Like if they are the only ones that can use their own blood type, right? So that was my existence. Some people said that was like different now or something. I don't know.
But in my reality, if this tells you anything, O didn't have an RH factor at all. That I don't remember an OH factor at all because it was called a universal donor because anyone could take it because it would accept either way. It had no RH factor, and then later on in like chiropractic school, all of a sudden, they started talking about RH factors with O, and I was like, I don't remember that.
I've always been an O positive person. I've known since I was young.
My
well, the other thing too, Karen, is in my reality, O factored people or O blood type was only about 3% of the population, and now it's over 50%.
Over 50?
Yeah, it's 51%.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4%. I remember.
That's crazy.
I haven't looked at a while. I didn't know it was 50.
Wait a minute. This
could mean
that we're manifesting blood that we need in the future.
Oh, well, here's another thing too. In our reality, only your bones made blood, but in this reality, your lungs make blood as well as your bones.
No way.
And your gut. What? You have cells in your gut that do too.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard that about your gut. Yeah.
We could just be, you know, poorly educated as well.
Yeah, they were finding new stuff too. You know, they didn't know it did this stuff, but you got other
Yeah.
places that make blood cells as well that back up.
Interesting.
Your lungs, though.
So here's the thing, though. Have you guys noticed the recent changes in the last 3 weeks of the skull? Oh, it's totally bizarre.
You have pictures?
Explain.
Okay, so
Or
this
send
part
pictures.
of our nose, for example, it's always been cartilage, except
Yes.
the bone starts right up about here between your eyes. Now it's bone all the way to the end.
Yeah, see, that's weird. I don't. That was
Totally
one I
weird.
heard about before, and that's not right. It was always cartilage.
Mine isn't.
Yeah.
Mine isn't.
Mine's
Go-
bouncing. It feels like
look. The last half inch. The last half inch is still cartilage.
Bouncing.
This
Yeah,
is cartilage from
No.
here down.
It's bone. It's bone up here now. If you look at the
I can
skull,
feel it. Mine
Yeah.
hasn't changed. I
try and
know it.
move it.
Well,
Try
you
and
know
move
what?
it.
That never moved. It always moved here.
No, I still
Okay.
got cartilage. It's rubbery. You know,
It's the end. The end is. But I wish I could pull up a picture of it. But all you got to do is Google skulls, and you'll see. And now the next thing they've changed is they about 3 months ago they had put holes in our face. There's 6 holes here, here, and here. Now there's only 4 on most of us. These 2 up here, we now have these little ridges that look like bone eyebrows on our skull, and on our chins we have this little triangular sort of bone rise on our chin, and our cheekbones are now way back in right under here. This is a bigger chunk of meat.
You think these are like Cro-Magnon features slipping into our timeline?
I want to know how many people in
They
the chat room are
definitely
doing
look
this.
bizarre.
How many people in the
Yeah.
chat room are doing this right now? Because we're all like bouncing our
Yeah.
nose. Taryn's like, look, it's
Oh,
spongy.
for sure.
And we're all going like this. Every
Yeah.
single person.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, it's bizarre. Yeah. And this change here with the way this bone comes around the eye, our skeleton is actually starting to look like something out of a horror movie. I mean, it's so bizarrely changing.
I remember when I just went through anatomy not too long ago, the eye sockets get me, because the eye sockets were, if you could actually inflict harm and right into somebody's brain from the eye sockets. Now
Yeah.
the way it looks, you couldn't even get your pinky in there because the hole is small on the backside where just
Yeah.
all the nerves and optical comes through, right?
Now it's different there too, Burma. Now the slit, there was a slit that was sort of like a little bit of, let me see if I got a pencil here or something to show you. Okay, the slit was at an angle about like this in your eye for the last 6 months. Well, now that slit has moved at the opposite angle and it's way lower in the back of the bone.
Oh,
It's
no,
almost like the optic nerve has to go down now to get up into your brain, whereas before it was just sort of turned straight through like a ribbon could go through there. So yeah, it's freaking weird how they're changing this stuff now. There's a couple people out there, Scarab, I think, did a video on it, and a couple others.
Taryn,
Anyway.
have you been through all your medical books yet? Have you like
no, I
looked
haven't
through
looked in a
them?
long time.
You should go through. We should both pull out our medical books and really just go through them and look if we can find any residual stuff. Because I looked through mine. I have looked through most of mine about different things, and I'm like, what? This? No. I just went through anatomy. This is not where it's supposed. What? You know. But maybe.
I
maybe
hate
we
to
could
say
find
it, but I ditched most of them about 20 years ago because I got tired of hauling books. I was like, yeah, it's all electronic now.
They're books, you book Nazi.
Well, hey, Burma,
The X-ray book was like $300, just one section of it, and
Yeah, why would you throw
I got in a tight spot, and I sold it for like $200. You know, I was like, I need this $200 more than I need this.
Now look,
I can look it up online for free. What the heck do I need a book for?
Wrong.
So I'm the wrong guy.
So I'm trying. This is like 5 months ago. I had gone to see my dad, and his wife is an RN, retired, and my brother and others. We were talking. This is the first time they had learned about the Mandela effect, and so I was talking to his wife about the changes in the small intestines. And first of all, the world I came from, the large intestine the small intestine was 32 feet long. And in this reality, it's only 20 feet long. But the bizarre thing about this, I said, do you have one of your textbooks that you learned at nursing school? She says, yes, I've got it right over here. She pulls it off the shelf. Now, in the reality I came from, the small intestine went all the way to one side of the abdominal cavity, made a zigzag, came all the way back to the other side of the cavity, made a zigzag, and basically made a smaller descending triangle shape out of these left and right patterns. Now, one of the flaws with this design is that the top couple of rows had a tendency to prolapse and sag, and you'd end up getting herniations, or you'd end up having, you know, pain in your gut from if you ate something that was a little harder to digest, like peanuts or something in quantity. But anyway, the way the intestines changed was that suddenly they were like someone took a rope that hadn't been coiled up and just plopped it into your cavity, into your lower abdominal cavity. I mean, it just was totally like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, that thing does not tie itself in a knot. Well, she gets her book out, so I'm thinking you're going to be shocked by this because she's a nurse. She gets her book out, and it's got a third design in it. In hers, it had little zigzags going left and right all the way down. Then it would zigzag all the way up. Each zigzag was about an inch, inch and a half wide. Then it got to the middle and had a straight line down, and then a straight line up, and then another zigzag on the right and a zigzag on the left. And I'm going, is this what you remember? And she looks at the picture, and she didn't convince me completely, but she goes, yeah, that's what I remember. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a third reality right here in front of me. And now it's not even like that anymore. I'm not sure what it's been recently, but last time I looked, it was different than both of those. So what do you guys remember? That's 4 or 5. That's 5 different realities of intestine designs that are blended into this reality now.
I always know, like this was even in school not that long ago, back and forth. That's how it does it. But the descending colon was on the left side of the body, more to the left side around. It would come down and then come in like this and then down.
Right.
Because as a massage therapist, you learn how to massage the stomach. Not that a lot of people do it because you don't want to have to go to the bathroom when you're on the table.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But you learn how to do the clockwards position and how to then bring it and go down the ascending side. So, yeah, I mean, it freaks me out.
So
just like here, and the way this is.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It looks more closed in than it used to be. It used to be a little bit wider through here. The bone structure.
Oh, it's totally weird. Yeah, the bone structure there.
And I know, Taryn, I mean, like you went to school a while ago, but for me, it wasn't that long ago. So I don't even know. You know, I mean, like, what does that say about our bodies? Does that say that we're shifting, and maybe that's why people are experiencing the pain? And then people come to me having the same flipping problems. I swear, it's all the time. I mean, you might get a little variance sometimes, but it's like sometimes I'll have 4 people, they all have neck problems. Sometimes I'll have 4 people and they all have, or 5 people, and they're all lower back issues. I can't explain that. Taryn, did you notice anything like that in your practice?
Yeah, there was synchronicity. All right, some of this, and I know you guys are gonna laugh. Whatever was on House or medical drama, a popular one, all of a sudden, like 2 weeks, everybody showed up with it, and you know, they'd be like, I'm positive I have this, I saw it, and that was always funny.
I love
Then
that.
you'd say, no, it's not sarcoidosis, right?
Right, yeah, that's it. It'd be like, or that someone would have it, you know, whatever, something. Whenever I got a rash of stuff, I'd be like, okay, what was on the Today Show a week ago? You know, or something like that. And
that's hypochondriacs. That's what that is.
It's true. They all come in. That was always funny. But yeah, you'll go through seasons where I would have a ton of carpal tunnel syndrome, and then it would just stop for a year, and then I'd have a ton again. So it goes in waves.
Yeah, it seems odd.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a thing, I guess. What's really interesting, Burma, is if you take a class, what happens is what you learn, like Monday morning, someone walks in with that you've never seen this before, and you found out in the class how to handle it. Like you went to, I feel like I went to these classes to learn for these patients that were about to walk in the door the following week. I mean, it would be amazing. It would be something really weird and rare that I just
my cupping has been like around where I'm at. I know 2 other therapists that do it because I brought them in. It was 3 other. One that brought me in, and 2 other that I brought into it that they wanted to do it, right? But every other therapist I've ever met, none of them do cupping. like around this area, it's a very low keyed thing. So I get a lot of people coming to me for it's nice, you know, because I think it's a wonderful thing. Wait, you just wait 2 weeks, Taryn.
No, we're talking about we're all a few of us ME related people are going to meet up at another festival called the Porcupine Freedom Festival or Pork Fest in about 2 weeks. So if you live in the Northeast or you don't mind driving, not too late to come and hang out with us. Get a ticket. There'll be a few of us up there. If you want to hang out with me, you can. Okay, I have to start winding down the show to stay on time, even though we started a little late. We lost our main person. I'm hoping Sydney figures out how to get her way over here. So I appreciate you guys checking out Sydney's channel. I linked it below. I also have Jerry's channel listed below where you can find out more about his stuff. I need to thank my mods also, and a commercial for this show. Of course, we got to talk about, since YouTube stinks now, most of the money I'm starting to make is on Amazon. It's keeping the show alive. So if you're going to go shopping on Amazon, please go through my link here below. Just remember to do that before you go to Amazon. You just have to enter through my link, then go shopping just like normal. Nothing's different. Prices are the same. Prime's the same. As long as you buy it within 24 hours, Amazon says thank you and sends me a little cut. And a lot of you guys are starting to do that now, and it's really helped the show. So thank you. Keep going to Amazon. That is what I'm going to start doing, is going around for the show on this. And we're going to say our parting words here. You guys got each 3 minutes. So go ahead, Sam. You want to start out?
Tick, tick, Sam.
Okay, sure. Well, this persistent, present, irritating condition called the Mandela infection or effect. I'm finding that here, almost a year later, I'm starting to come to the realization that we experience it as a mindset change where we look at it like, oh, well, we used to think history and facts were fairly immutable. Now we just realize, like the future, the past and facts can be a variable factor in understanding the world we live in. The big issue is it means you have to revisit and re-examine almost everything you've learned to see if it's still valid. And even when they say that perhaps it's now not, it doesn't mean there aren't going to be moments where what you know will in fact be valid to be useful for you. So anyhow, that's it. Tip of the week. Hang in there.
All right,
Okay.
Jerry, up to you. You got 3 minutes to say whatever you like.
I have
Taryn,
nowhere near 3 minutes.
Your guest is back, by the way. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
she is.
She's back,
Goodness.
and I just wanted to, because I see
Yeah,
her.
let's give her a last word and hang out. Go ahead, Jerry. You first, and then I'll let her talk a little bit.
No, I really think of the Mandela effect as a wake-up call from the universe to pay attention to what's going to happen. So, that's kind of where I took it from. And I would say, research the things that you think you remember or don't remember or that have changed. And it will be a fun journey because you'll learn a lot of new things. But I would, I don't know.
I'm like, you're a talker, man. Go ahead.
I am a talker, but I have so many different ideas about this. I mean, it could be ourselves manifesting. It could be being done by other people. I just don't know. So, my advice is just to research as much as possible and learn new things every day. Turn off your televisions.
Yeah, amen.
Don't eat crap.
Amen. I like to.
And if you guys
learn stuff.
You guys want to know more about Jerry, you can definitely check out his channel, and also I think he's coming to the Discord right after this, and you can hang out and talk with him.
Yes,
cool.
And our guest is back, Sydney.
Hi.
You there?
Now? Yes.
Oh, much better, actually. Yeah, you're.
Good.
It's a lot better. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to talk about whatever you want to talk about, since you missed the last 20 minutes here. So go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, I guess my big thing about this is that at least it makes life interesting. Life apparently is more like a movie than anything else. And I hope that we can work through fear, try to figure out what's going on if we can. Utilize it to the best. I would love a world where we all together for a little bit less suffering. I think we're always going to need a little bit of suffering, but my hope would be that we could come together for at least stop a lot of the suffering that we don't need. And you know, I'm hoping for the best for all of us, and I believe in the future that the future humans are going to know a lot more about this, and it's just sort of an exciting time for us right now. I'm going to be putting out a few more videos. I'm going to try to make one more Mandela effect video tomorrow about some of my possible Mandela effects, because things that I can't quite remember. Like, I thought my gate was a different color, but I'm not like 1,000% sure, so I'm just going to put a big list out there of things. And yeah, it'd be cool if some people read my book and stuff and just became my friends, and I just appreciate all the Mandela effect people so much. I really do. It's changed my life for the better to know that there's other people out there experiencing paranormal things, and especially this. And now that I'm over my fear of it and view it more, like, at first it was so scary, I had to actually learn how to like scary movies. I said in one of my videos, because I hate scary movies, but I had to learn how to like a scary movie because I was in one. You know. So now I'm just experiencing everything as best I can, like trying to enjoy it, enjoying all of you, appreciating you so much. You know, it means the world to me that you're out there, and that it's the biggest thing for me. So I appreciate the friendship and all the advice, and especially.
Wait a minute, your eyes are brown right now. No.
Oh no.
Okay, high five on that one. I'm sorry.
I'm the other Sydney. I'm the one from the other reality.
Yeah, guys, go over and
go
over and show her channel some love, because you know it's hard when you're first putting yourself out there about this and you don't know anyone. And then she said that, you know, she's been getting a lot of haters on trolls, and you know, we got to stick together really, because
we'll give her some love.
Yeah, we got to stick together and support each other. So go over there and subscribe and drop some nice comments. Show some love.
We'll have to drop it in Discord.
Miss Burma, it is now to you.
I just want to say she's been wonderful as a guest. I'm glad she come on, and of course, both to Jerry. I was like saying to you in the chat, it's really a synchronicity hookup. I just watched a video yours the other day, so I really did enjoy it.
Which one?
Oh God, which one? Let me just put me on the spot. Why don't you?
Was it a music video one?
No, I think you were sitting talking, haven't you done one where you were sitting and talking about things? And that's the one that I seen.
We've done close to 30 hours of chats, yeah, on all kinds of topics.
I would have to go back and look. I really would.
It's the Apollo stuff. I know what you're talking about.
And Sam, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And Dr. Taryn, yes, very nice. Thank you for always having me on your show, and I very much appreciate it. Can't wait to get her over there, because she's going to be like totally excited to be in Discord. I think it's going to really help you.
She thinks this is a nice community. Wait till
just wait.
Over there. And that goes to any of you guys watching. If you're brand new to this and you're like, man, nobody around me believes me, and my family thinks I'm nuts, and I can't talk about this without losing my job, all that sort of stuff, come on over to this group. We're going to drop the link right now in here. I hate the name. It's Discord, but so I just call it the Afterglow Chat. The Afterglow Chat. And come on over, and we'll help get you set up, even if you are electronically challenged. So
I'm sorry, that was totally me a little bit.
Yeah, that was pointed a little bit at you, Burma, just a little bit.
You know what? I figured out my Google thing. Look at it working like magic now.
I know, it's amazing. Other than that, I think let's see. I don't know if I'm going to do a Saturday show. I haven't. Oh no, I'm not. I forgot. I am going to take the weekend off. You hear that, Unirock? The weekend's all yours. Tear it up. I am taking a functional endocrinology class where I'm learning a lot about lady hormones.
So, you need to come back and teach us then.
We are going to be talking about a lot of hormones over the weekend.
You will be so valuable to transvestigations in the future.
That will be a fun class, but I'm very excited because it's the first time I've been able to get certified in endocrine, even though all the classes I do deal with endocrine. This is actually functional endocrinology. It's pretty high level stuff, and I'm excited because it's the first time it's come around anywhere.
You need to come back and like talk to us. By the way, I just want to say real quick.
Teach you a little bit.
Look at this.
If you want.
You see my new bowl?
No, I got to see it. Hold on.
I see it.
It's my third eye chakra bowl. It's huge, and it makes an awesome sound. I got it from one of my clients that I worked on, and he gave it to me as like a payment. So sometimes that's
pretty nice. Does it change your hormones? Can I take it to class?
Am I nicer? This was the heart one, and that was the third eye one. So I don't know which one this one is. This is my favorite. I love this one. This is my favorite one.
All right. Okay. Let's wind this puppy up. No, that's all right. Guys, I really appreciate you coming. Thank you so much. Remember, like, share, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I can't believe I'd even have to ask the subscribers at this point, because I assume that you guys come every week and have subscribed, but some of you haven't. Please check out in the comments section below. Actually, in the description section, you'll find links to every one of these channels. Everybody has a channel except Sam, and we're going to keep riding him until he does something about that.
Sam, I have a channel. I mean, like, it's one video with just like some pictures.
You guys do such a great job.
Well, you're welcome to hang out on my channel all you want, Sam, if you don't want to deal with that.
Thanks, Taryn. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm really glad you're back. People ask about you every week, and I'm like, I don't know. I keep sending him invites. He's somewhere. He's traveling or something.
He needs to research and come back to us. That's what Sam does. He comes back to us. Don't you, Sam?
Whatever. He doesn't read.
I do, and I like to contribute to everything you guys are doing, and just attaboy to everyone.
He shows he just knows this stuff off the hip, man.
I know, right?
Like, I've never seen him do research. He just already knows. He's done it already.
That picture was amazing. That picture.
You can ask him about anything. Yeah, that was a cool before and after. I don't know who that was, but that was that's like one of the best I've ever seen. That's really
Sam, that should go into your book. Whatever book you're going to write. Put that in your book.
And Steph says that her 10-year-old girl, Zoe, is giggling every time I say the word lady hormones.
You can tell, say, Zoe, I do too. So it's pretty cool.
There you go. So, all right. I love y'all. Stay strong, right? Stay positive. Support each other. Be nice to chat. We'll see you on the. We're going to chat now. If you want to keep going, it's like a bar. You guys know the right. You don't have to quit drinking, but you can't stay here. So we'll see you there. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay. Good night.